Well, hello everybody. Welcome to TDC Podcast. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Give me that look. Yeah, does something feel off?
Telling you, man. When I switch seats, it's like a different universe.
Yeah, that's okay. Welcome to the show, everybody. Hello, T-Roy. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm okay.
Just
I'm
okay.
Yeah, I mean that's as good as it's gonna get.
Yeah.
for me.
Actually, that's
just okay.
that's a good for normal people.
Yeah, exactly. It's incredible for normal people. No, I had to do a bunch of running around. I finally had to deal with a stack. These stacks of paperwork I have to fill out for surgery, and it's just a nightmare. And I had to take
Signing away all your rights.
Yeah, it's funny, man. They're like, okay, so a lot of it is about, if you start, coding or dying on the table, what are we supposed to do with you? And I was like,
Put a DNR in there.
fuck yes.
Attaboy.
Do not resuscitate, no feeding tubes. Don't look, if I look like I'm going south, let it go. Just I'm dead. That's cool.
Do you have your affairs in order?
No. They gave me a thing on that too. I was like, not my concern at that point.
Okay.
I'll be gone. What do I give a shit? 100% serious. I signed off on everything, the whole checklist. Don't do anything to help me with anything. Yeah. I'm like, just die.
Turn around, walk out of the room.
Yep. Leave the room. Go say hi to whoever's waiting for me in the waiting room. They're like, I don't know. Last we knew he had a hangnail. He started bleeding out of his toe. Now he's coding. So we could put a Band-Aid on it. He'll pull through. But it's very, very clear in his paperwork not to do anything.
He was adamant.
So we just left the room, and
we're going to hope for the best.
We hope you've all said your goodbyes. And then they were like, would you like us to bring a pastor in here? No, nope, don't need a pastor in here.
Wait. That's your ticket, though. That's your opportunity. Don't let that one slip away. That's your opportunity to make amends.
Yeah.
To,
I don't think it works like that, though.
All I'm going to say is it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
It's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Why not?
You know what? I've been thinking more about this whole heaven thing, and I think it's subjective. Like, my idea of heaven. So it's like, oh, yeah, you're in eternal paradise. First off, anything that's eternal would get boring, right? But my idea of an eternal
paradise... But if
paradise,
it's paradise, it would not.
Well,
maybe it's
okay.
constantly changing.
My idea of eternal paradise would be like bathing in a lake of drugs. So, like, I don't know if God has the same idea of paradise. And I imagine people that were around 10,000 years ago, their idea of paradise, they don't know what TV is. So it's like they wouldn't even know what a couch is in a living room.
Dude, somebody's paradise. Like
what
hello, they thought of their
Jesus joins the show today. How are
no,
you,
but
pal?
Somebody's paradise from 200 years ago would suck.
Yeah, their idea
like
of paradise would blow.
Having shoes.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You know?
He's sitting in the corner. I'm bathing in my lake of drugs, just happier than shit.
Plus you'd have like
and he's got a pair of new Nikes on, and he's like, "Whoa, I really swung and missed for this one."
That would suck. I never
just
thought
didn't
about
know.
Does heaven evolve with the times? Like, are they keeping up with technology and shit?
Well, you got to think there was a day. there was a day when you could just club a bitch over the head and drag her back to your cave and bang her.
Yeah.
She had no say in it. It's like, well, yeah, that was now you'd be like, you're going to burn in eternal hell for that. And it's like,
right.
Is that guy burning in hell? That was
Maybe.
just the way things were back then.
Wow, that doesn't make it okay.
There was a show called
But it was okay back then. No one even complained, probably.
Right. There was this show called, I think, The Good Place or whatever, and I got into it recently and I watched it all. And it was kind of pretty cool. It dealt with, like, the afterlife. And it did, near the end, get to this point where they had to admit that they made it to heaven. These people made it, and then the people in heaven fucking hated it.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, for a while this was awesome.
Yeah.
Now I fucking know that anything I want just pops up. And they had to finally come up with this way where the series ended.
The human brain. Isn't that hilarious? Everything I want just pops up. Like, that's the idea of heaven.
Well, yeah, or something like that. And so they had to get to the point in the show, and that's how they kind of ended the series, where that they, even in heaven, you needed an out. And they put this door up somewhere, and they said, once you're ready, once you're happy, you've made peace with this, you'll walk through here. And they didn't explain what that was, by the way.
Figure it out.
You just went
That's
back.
what I'm wondering. Is there an escape plan? You got to, like, shank a bitch, and then you could go to hell from there when you've had enough.
Put your parachute on, shank a bitch, and hop off the first cloud
Time
you
to
see.
go.
Well, there was a hell at the beginning of the show. I don't want to get through the whole show, but eventually,
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert. There was a hell at one point in the show, but they decided that they solved that. And then everyone gets to go to the perfect place or whatever. But then even in the perfect place, it gets fucking boring.
Well,
Wouldn't that be great if that was the lesson? Like you get up there and you're like, yeah, this is what you lived your whole life for. It sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All that good shit you did, watching, being nice
Where'd
to
that
people.
get you?
Didn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah, and you got to think. I always wondered about like the radical Islamists, like the far extreme of that, where they're promised
42 virgins or whatever,
72
or
virgins,
72 virgins, yeah.
in heaven. Actually, that actually translates more closely to 72 raisins. To be honest with you, don't tell them it's going to be a hell of a surprise when they get there. But I always wondered, like, okay, even if that was true, say you got up there and you got 72 virgins. First off, virgins would suck. You'd want at least half of them to be like have some game.
Yeah.
You know? But even if you got up there, it's like, well, what is this version of heaven for them? Like hell on earth? Like, are these 72 virgins that are up there
what are
just
they doing
putting
there?
up with Muhammad and his stinking ass beard for eternity, just blowing this guy? Like, this doesn't sound like a win-win for everybody involved.
Not quite their heaven.
Yeah, like, do women not get into heaven in
They
that
died as
religion?
virgins, and this is their punishment?
Yeah, they get some sloppy, unclipped, stinking, fucking radical Islamist banging them all the time.
Although they say it's 72
Horrible.
virgins, is there anywhere does it actually say that they're women? Or is it all bourgeoisie?
Can you
up there?
imagine if that was
right?
the kicker?
You get up there and like, hey,
There's 72 giant-dicked virgins just standing in line waiting for them to get there.
Oh my God.
virgin goats.
Well, that would be a win. But no, virgin dudes would
Yeah.
be the best.
I've never heard it explicitly said that it's virgin
right.
women.
Yeah, that's great. They just say 72 virgins. You know, this is why lawyers put fine print in all contracts. So that you have to think of everything that could possibly be in there. And it's like, dude, you didn't clarify 72 female virgins. You didn't even clarify hot ones.
Right? Could be
Like,
72 virgin olive oils.
Yeah.
all you know.
Yeah. 72 fat, fucking, stinking, unclipped, stinking guys. Well, nice job, dude.
You get extra virgins.
Yeah. Way to clarify your little contract with your God, Muhammad. Nice job, dude. Way to go.
You know, the language is rough back thousands of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. But yeah, you got to think through the passage of time, things have evolved. And so what is one man's heaven? Or what would be considered like the like that would get you out of heaven? Murder? If you didn't accept God into your life, well, what if you go back a couple thousand years pre-Jesus coming down? What happens to all those folks?
Could you imagine?
And where is the line? Even if you're like, if you do accept him, it's anything.
And those are man-made laws. Murder is a man-made law, right?
yeah,
essentially.
right. So,
I mean,
like,
yeah.
but
kill or
like,
be killed in the wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're like you said, like, I mean, okay, you accept it, you really do. Let's say for real, you start following it, you believe it 1,000,000%. If that's true, then there are absolutely fucking rapists and murderers up there.
Of course.
Like,
And imagine you get to heaven and you fucking bump it on the corner cloud store. You bump into your rapist, and it turns out he had a deathbed confession. Now you're like, wait a minute.
well, maybe, I'm going to be
This
nice
guy
to him.
literally ruined my fucking life on Earth, and now I got to bump into him on
Maybe
the
have
clouds
separate-
corner.
Several separate heavens. I
Yeah,
guess.
we
or
already
something.
know there's double wides on the outskirts for certain
Yeah, yeah,
circumstances.
There should be a middle ground for
Yeah.
one. Like, I haven't raped or murdered anybody. Doesn't
Yeah, but you would be on the far
That's
east side. You'd be on the
fine.
south side of
Imagine
heaven.
used
walking
to
through
it.
the pearly gates for the first time,
I'm
like
used to say,
stub your toe. You're like, God damn it! Oh, ow. Just drop. Said his name in vain. Sorry.
I'm used to sleeping in Super 8s. I can handle it. Like,
East Heaven gets a fucking used car and a twin
Right.
bed.
Hey, let me ask you.
what up?
In your travels, in the hotel breakfast that you
Not fair.
finessed.
Not fair.
Well, this is
He doesn't stay at anything more than $69.
he
a
never
night.
paid for him. He was sneaking in for breakfast. That's
Right,
my
that is
point.
true.
You don't
That
go to the
is
shitty
true.
ones for breakfast. You go to
Right.
fairly decent
Right.
places for breakfast.
For
and
sure.
you had what was the one that you thought was a good spread?
Well, the one I liked the most was Hampton, just
Okay.
because they're open till 10 every day.
Then let me ask you this.
So wait.
Hold on, Hamptons.
His might just have apples and oranges in a basket, but they're open till 10. That doesn't count.
No. So he went to multiple Hamptons throughout the country.
Yes.
I assume everyone, for the most part, had the Belgian waffle maker.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
How many of those had as an accoutrement for the waffles strawberries and
Oh, they're pretty
whipped
good
cream?
about them. They're pretty good.
They have strawberries and
Boom.
whipped
Yeah.
cream.
Thank you, Isis. Yep, I
Why?
got strawberries and whipped cream and everything.
Well, it's,
I
it's a
don't
thing.
tend I usually didn't get a lot of waffles. Got a waffle maker at home, but
No, this is
they-
a very
yeah.
serious thing.
Oh,
So
you guys were discussing whether
did
had
they
it or
have
not?
strawberries and whipped cream cream to put on the waffles.
I would not. So here, like I was talking about, every hotel is different. There are worse. Even Hampton Inns are nicer than Super 8s, but there are worse. And there was some breakfasts that were, even for were not that great. But most of them, they tend to have, yes, like some kind of like walnuts and, chocolate chips and sprinkles or whatever and shit. So yeah, I would say
But
yes.
strawberries
I don't know about
and whipped cream.
strawberries though.
I made a point of saying that. Like, I've never been to one that doesn't have strawberries and whipped cream.
Strawberries, I'm not sure about, but whipped
And
cream,
I could be wrong.
100%.
I might be confusing it a little bit with just going to a random big boy.
Yeah, I don't know about strawberries
Troy
specifically.
called me out on this, and I took a pounding on email from people going strawberries and whipped cream.
Actually, well, whipped cream for sure. That was there.
Yeah.
But and like I said, they did have like usually like chocolate chips and whatever kind of sprinkles. But I don't know
so
about
basically, you're
strawberries.
saying I'm more right than Troy. Basically, in your
everyone's a winner. You're
Yeah.
half right.
Okay. All right.
half wrong.
Excellent. Well, welcome back, Isis. I know you had a self-exile.
I did the like I was like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I
you went
for
to a dark room.
A dark room.
Were you underground somewhere in Oregon?
No, I was at the Kennedys on. I'm just kidding. It worked out though. I got to cat sit again, and I did I was gone for like 2.5 weeks or something, and 1 week I was just telling Troy like very specifically nothing on my phone. I didn't scroll even. I didn't do anything. And it was good, man. I was glad I did it.
Yep.
For sure. I mean,
I know there's a lot of people.
I wish I
who
didn't
was it?
have to be on it as much almost. But
Who was it? Like Dave Rubin will take every August off.
yeah, okay.
I know that. Like he'll take 4 weeks off and not look at a single newspaper, not look at social media at all.
Yeah.
And just go completely out of it. I
I'm shocked he
kind of
doesn't
like
spread-
that attitude.
I'm shocked he doesn't spread that out to me. I would do like a week and then
Yeah, but that's just everybody does a week. A week of vacation
Yeah,
or something.
but I'm not talking-
taking a month off
Yeah.
and really disconnecting from social media, doing a talk show.
Well, I will tell
whatever you do.
That's a good point because I would say that when I was deciding on how long to do, I think I ended up doing like 2.5 weeks or whatever I did. Between 2.5 and 3 weeks. You're right. I did think to myself, if I just did a week, I'm like, well, am I really going to notice it? After?
No, you
So
wouldn't.
I said to myself, and so I think I did the first week. I still scrolled and would like stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then last week I went from Monday to Monday where I didn't even look at it. I just set it. I mean, whatever. I text somebody if I needed to, but I didn't scroll social media at all. And
Yeah.
It was fucking awesome. It was really good.
Yeah.
I wish we didn't have to do it so much in a way, but
Yeah.
oh wow.
Well, you don't have to.
You don't have to, but I fucking kind of do because I don't have enough money to not do it. If I got to a level, if I was at like a fucking level of real wealth, I would absolutely have no problem handing it over to a young person and kind of once in a while, hey, here's something. But I don't. I feel like I have to. Maybe I don't, but I feel like I have to.
You do. Sadly, you do. It's a necessary evil.
No, if money was no object, I would literally throw my phone in the garbage. I'd never be on social media.
I mean, I
just don't care that much about it. It's a necessary evil with the world.
Well, I'd
still be fine communicating with people that are in my life, my immediate people. But as far as like, it's more creepy than anyone to be scrolling through someone else's kids' graduation pictures. You know what I mean? There's a weird element. Like everybody posts those pictures and everybody has to like those pictures, but it's fucking weird. I don't know your kids. I'm fucking 100 years older than your kids. Why would I be? Oh yeah, your daughter looks great. This graduation season.
Right.
It's weird.
No, I mean, I genuinely do like it. I just wish I wish I didn't have the pressure. See, I wish I could just do it and not all the time. Like when I got back from the trip, for sure, I started saying, okay, now I got to build off this momentum, and I changed my Facebook over to like a follower thing where I get more attention, and it started to tell me every week, you're getting more. I'm like, okay, this is good. If I didn't have that, if I didn't feel the pressure, if I could just kind of whatever. Anyway, it was
I
good.
got you.
It was
I got
good.
you. Hey, the crew at Zott Ford and Holly is jonesing to help you get a brand new Ford, all while delivering exceptional details and a world-class experience. Right now, lease a new loaded 22 Ford F-150 Super Crew XLT 4x4 as low as $292 for just 24 months, or lease a new jammed up 22 Ford Explorer XLT 4-wheel drive as low as $333, also 24 short months. Plus, if you tell our friends at Zott Ford, they'll kick in an extra $500 worth of accessories at no additional charge with your new F-150. And Zott Ford is still paying $2,000 over your appraised value when you lease or buy a new Ford Escape, Edge, or Explorer, but only if you know the name of Etard's favorite furry little critter. Finally, Gabarra and the team are still going nuts and offering 0% financing on lots of new in-stock vehicles. So go check out their voluptuous inventory and dazzling deals at dealsinthed.com. And I will mention radiofor1.com, of course, is live. Sweatshirts, hats, winter beanies. That's where you can get merch like that. Amazon link, Amazon Canada. Please use those links. They're a small but important way to help the show out. Of course, you don't pay any more than you would without using our links. My Pillow, promo code TDC. I definitely am going to order those My Pillow 2s.
Part 2.
Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, check those out and see what the new pillows are like.
Generally, the sequels are not as good as the first, but we'll see how this one turns out.
Hey, I've heard Mike talk about this on TV. He really seems to believe in this. So we'll see.
He believes in everything. Have you heard of anything he doesn't believe in?
When he's involved, no. But you know what? I've been very satisfied with the products.
No,
and
I know.
I know. Obviously, if you hate his politics, you're going to find a way to hate everything about him, and you're going to declare his pillows are shit. I have not found that to be true. I don't necessarily agree with all of his political antics, but I can still go, it's a good pillow. The sheets are great. So
yeah, no, I know.
or the My Store. The coffee's great. He's not, believe me, he's not picking coffee beans and putting them out. These are other people that are doing this, and he's believes in it, and so he puts them up. And promo code TDC works at all those. Also, a link to our Patreon page. So, and feel free to send us emails, walters@detroitcast.com. And we have plenty of those to get through. I did find it necessary to grab a stack of stories to you that we didn't get to this week, yesterday and the day before, most of them. But otherwise, I realized we were just going to do an entire show on trans issues. The trans community, I think we have not done much on trans stories.
No, we've dodged that bullet for the most part.
Yeah, I've kind of, it's where I got with Toy Stories, where it's like, unless it's just like a crazy story, let's shelve it a little bit because it can get a bit much. But I don't know what's going on, man. There's someone kicked the trans hornet nest, and there's a lot of shit going on.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah. So
they got riled up.
One of the other stories that's come out is that we did a whole segment or two a week or two ago on Roald Dahl books.
Oh yeah.
The kids' books. I'm trying to remember what. So he was like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. A
bunch of stuff you'd know.
I would say James the Giant Peach, but maybe is that one of them?
Yep, that's one of them.
Ronald with no N.
Yeah, Roald Dahl. And so people had gone through and like updated his books to make them more politically correct for today. Yeah. Big story, and
He's dead, by the way.
Okay.
So now they're redoing it and editing out and changing the verbiage and a lot of this stuff.
But one of the stories that's come out is, and we haven't spent time talking about it yet. But
it's not like it's like N-words and stuff that they're getting out of it. It's like it's most irrelevant shit.
Yeah, wasn't it like about chicks or something? Like
a lot of it, yeah.
It's usually dumb stuff like, oh, she's the ugliest woman I've ever seen, and it's like, oh. You can't say ugly and woman in the same sense. Like
people are ugly.
Yeah.
Right?
So it has to be that's the ugliest person I've ever seen.
Oh,
we're like that's worse. Now that you were the ugliest 50%. Now you're the ugliest 100%.
Oh, so it just was that it was a woman, and now it's got to be person.
But it wasn't.
Yeah,
but they picked and choose. It was just weird.
Yeah.
It was just random shit. And this one really bothers me too. And it's Ian Fleming. If you don't know who Ian Fleming is,
it's Bond, isn't it?
That's James Bond.
Fuck
He's the guy that wrote the Bond novels. And they're now editing those to appease modern audiences and get rid of non-offensive language.
Thank God they made the movies. They can't change those.
Yeah, well, I would for future releases, I would not put it past to dub shit. I wouldn't put anything past these people at this point.
Are they gonna change Pussy Galore's name?
Right. I don't know. Yeah, from Octopussy, and she's got the Octopussy tattoo on her back shoulder, I think. And I don't know. That's always creeped me out, and because if you watch that clip, and he's like, "Oh, what is that tattoo?" And she's like, "That's my Octopussy," and you're like, "Ooh." I even feel uncomfortable. It just it makes me squirm a little bit because it's like not a poster says that. You can't have that in a title, Octopussy.
But they did.
But they did. And if you know anything about Ian Fleming's novels, what is James Bond if not for the hero who he drives ridiculously crazy cool cars, right?
Aston Martin.
Aston Martins and stuff like that. And when they update him, I don't know if he's driving Ferraris or whatever. But Aston Martin, I think, is
that was the old
main,
school, the original, yeah.
Yeah. And he's a fucking pussy hound.
Ladies man.
That he's not a ladies' man. He's a playboy. He fucks everything. The hottest chicks from around the globe. He fucking beds them overnight, fucks them, and leaves them. That's what James Bond is. He's a world traveler, and that's kind of the crux of it. So to get misogyny or sexism out of Bond books is absurd. It's absurd. So this is what they're leaning on, and this is why this is so dangerous. When you talk about updating for a modern audience, Fleming, before he died in 1964, okay? So you can imagine what was going on in the world in 1964. So Live and Let Die is written in 1954. So before his death, he's like, yeah, you know what? I don't have a problem change. And this is in 64. He says this. And he's alive. He says, you know what? Probably not great to have the N-word in this book. It's just not cool. And I don't mind for future publications. If you want to take the N-word out and put black man or black person, I'm okay with that. And so in that, in that feeling or whatever, they're going to now honor Ian Fleming, how he felt in 1964 about removing the N-word, which is totally different, in my opinion, than a Huck Finn story for when those books were written by Mark Twain versus, books written in the 50s. And he's probably very, very woke for someone in 1964 to acknowledge that the N-word isn't necessary and is probably not great. And so they're like, well, honoring Ian Fleming's wishes, we've gone through and will now update future books. And you're like, it's one thing when Ian Fleming is alive to sign off on that, and it's something that personally bothered him, and he was okay with those changes for future publications.
Now you're just going to take the ball and run with it?
Yeah. Now we're going to take the ball and run with it.
Yeah, we know what he meant, so we're just going to...
Yeah. We, at Ian Fleming Publications, reviewed the text of the original Bond books and decided our best course of action was to follow Ian's lead. Okay, so the one word he wanted taken out in 1964, you're going to follow his lead. No, there wasn't a lead. He made a call on something while he was still alive.
Yeah.
We don't get to go change this all. And so that's what they're leaning on.
But
we
that
have
was,
made changes to Live and Let Die.
A sign of the times. So that was the issue at that point. And we know if he was cool with that, had he been around now, he would be cool with this.
Right.
Clearly.
Yeah. This is a guy who's sophisticated, suave. He's drinking cocktails constantly, and he's crushing pussy. That's what Bond is. I think he tracks down bad guys at some point. But basically,
Saves the world and shit, I think.
Yeah, does he? Okay. I didn't realize that. I just think of him as a ladies' man.
Money penny.
Crushing pussy everywhere he goes. Following Ian's approach, we looked at the instances of several racial terms across the books and removed a number of individual words, or else swapped them for terms that are more accepted today, but in keeping with the period in which the books were written. I don't trust you to make those calls.
All right.
That's me personally. Some people might not have a problem with that. I think literary works of art, you leave the fuck alone. And at some point, adults can be adults and decide, you know what? I'm not reading Ian Fleming's trash where he felt comfortable saying the N-word, totally ignoring the fact that it was written in the 50s or something. And just, if that's what you want to do, fine. But I'm just not cool with someone else coming in way after the fact, 60 years later, and deciding what he meant. The book was written at a time, the new versions of Bond novels will include a disclaimer. This book was written at a time when terms and attitudes, which might be considered offensive by modern readers, were commonplace. A number of updates have been made in this edition, while keeping as close to the original text and period in which it is set. For example, Casino Royale still includes phrases like sweet tang of rape, blithering woman, or blithering women, failing to do a man's work, insensitive references to East Asians, and references to homosexuality as a stubborn disability.
All right.
In Live and Let Die, however, the line calling Africans pretty law-abiding chaps, I should have thought, except when they've drunk too much, now is revised to pretty law-abiding chaps, I should have thought.
Okay.
So wait a minute. Hold on. You changed literally that whole sentence.
The point of it, essentially. Yeah.
You know, and whether you agree with that, you know, you could probably say that about everybody for the record.
I would say yes.
You know what I mean? Mike Walters, pretty law-abiding chap, I would say, until he's had too much to drink.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It's pretty much anybody that drinks.
Anybody that drinks would fall into that category. I don't think this is exclusive to black people. But whatever. And I don't know what the full context in that is, if he's dealing with a troubled alcoholic black man throughout the story, you know, and is making some grand leap to that. But
These are just reprints, right? These are reprints of books from that. I'm
Yeah.
shocked there's that many people. Not to be mean,
actually,
but like,
buying these books now.
like you're buying the new. You're like, I just went into wherever Amazon today. I'm like, I need to get Casino Royale on book, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
tape.
well, there's a lot of people that are definitely, they will search out on eBay and sites like that looking for original text of those books.
yeah,
I know a lot.
That's true.
A lot of people did that with Seuss because there's some problematic Seuss books that have been out of publication. And so people will try their best to go back and find copies of those. You know, search out garage sales, whatever. And that's what I would do if I was going to get a Bond book. I wouldn't buy one before 1984. I mean, after 84.
Yeah. Oh,
I would want to go and no, give me the original works. Let me see what this guy wrote. And if I'm that offended, I can throw the book away. You know, I don't think I will be, but I just don't like the idea of coming back years later and changing someone else's work.
Exactly.
Again, if Ian personally wants to do that for a very specific thing, you know, I can respect that. I can, but you know, having some committee who's working on behalf of your publishing company, like, no.
Creative liberties that are being taken.
Yeah.
Do you know if
it's a
all
slippery slope.
you know if all the Bond movies are they all based on stories like even the new one, like those you said now, like those are,
Casino Royale
like those came out 10 years ago or something, but
that's his series. That's
okay,
his
so
spirit,
none, if they still have ones coming out at some point, those are all from his books.
I believe so.
Yeah.
They haven't written new ones. I never knew that, honestly. I assumed.
Although I guess because even like
I
Casino
think so.
Royale and stuff.
That
those
wasn't
are all-
Live and Let
that, I mean,
Die.
20 years ago, but that wasn't that old.
Yeah, and who knows, the way they bastardize things these days, maybe some of the new ones are just take-offs, you know.
Yeah.
Like the Star Wars shit's not Lucas
mostly they
books
work.
anymore. You know what I mean? They're
Right.
spin-offs.
But mostly they were.
John Favreau's writing all those.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
the ones that I've seen, like the.
That's what I'm saying, but that's
Mandalorian.
not original Lucas stuff, even
Right.
though it's under the same name. So
Yeah, because they're using his characters and his storylines.
But same with the Bond. So I can't guarantee that like some of the
Gotcha.
newest, latest ones that I don't
But
even know
like I
who the
said,
hell
some
they
of the
are
ones you
anymore.
mentioned, I remember those. If you had even said they were by books, I would have thought, oh, they ran out of those in the 80s, and now they're just making new ones or whatever. But okay, cool.
Do you guys have a problem with today's world revising works of art like that?
I do. Just because, again, I don't know where people get off thinking that they can change history. You know, you can learn from it, you can move on from it, and change the future, but you can't change history. So it is what it is. It was done for a purpose at a time, right or wrong.
Yeah.
Well, you're just going to, what are you
changing
going to get to the point you're going to change? What, you're going to change everything every day?
Right, exactly.
I mean, at this point,
and then are you
my
going to change
lord.
what you changed? You know, it's
Yeah.
I mean, what about like movies from like fucking 2010s? You know, your super bads and shit. You're going to remake those already?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you know what
and
I'm saying?
and are we going to leave it up to fucking some super woke Hollywood A-lister like
Jonah Hill?
Jonah Hill, who
that movie he just did on Netflix.
Oh my God, you people so dumb, dude.
You know, I didn't even actually watch it. I didn't mind.
I mean, the
movie.
cast, you've got Eddie Murphy and Jonah Hill and
I
But
didn't,
yeah,
I
it's-
didn't mind the movie. I just thought for him it was just so obvious. This dude is just trying
Pandering to
right
it.
from back in his day of his fag remark.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
everything now he's going to make sure it has a purpose and
yeah, but I don't want to leave it up to someone like him to go in Superbad when I call him Fagiola.
Right. Fuck yeah.
The nerdy kid. Who's the nerdy kid? Skinny little.
Fucking, you were close with it.
I mean,
Well, there's
McLovin.
McLovin, but you know,
McLovin,
that was the name that you were going after. I thought you were close.
Yeah, he calls him.
Fagoli or something.
Yeah, at
or-
some point because he changed his name.
Yeah, I don't.
On his license.
Yeah.
But he calls him it's a pun or some sort.
Absolutely.
But he's calling him a fag. I don't want Jonah Hill to be the guy that gets to come back and go, no, in all future showings of this. Now, obviously, they're going to change that if it airs on network TV or on Comedy Central.
Right.
Yeah, which they've always done.
Yeah.
But when it airs on HBO, I don't want them coming in and changing that. And if you think we're being ridiculous about this, and people are entitled to their opinions, I understand that as well.
The only way it can be changed is if it's their work.
Right.
You know,
you acted in it, but you didn't write it.
Yeah, if you wrote it, if you did it, you know, that's the only way that you get that say.
And I honestly think we're being held hostage by a very, 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 very loud, but equally small group of people. Most people, when you talk to them, you hear them talk, they're like, they don't even make movies like they did in the good old days when you got Road Trip or you got Superbad. We all acknowledge that. So to go through with a fine-tooth comb, and they haven't done anything to that movie that I'm aware of. But the fear is, okay, think about how much gratuitous nudity is in art, is in paintings, famous works of art. Are we going to go through and put brassieres on women because it objectifies them in a Van Gogh painting?
Right.
Is that what we're going to do? Because it sounds absurd, but so does taking out, obviously, except when they've drunk too much. Like, no, that's not in the theme that he had a problem with.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want today's society going through and changing Mark Twain's works. Go write your own fucking work and make it as woke as you want. And let's see how you do. Let's see how your work compares to Mark Twain's. Let's see how your perfect painting compares to the Van Goghs of the world. Let's see how you do up against Roald Dahl's works of art. You know how hard it is to become a fucking author? Do you have any idea how fucking hard that is? How hard it is to become J.K. Rowling? Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's an impossibility. We all think because we can write a paragraph for a fucking school paper that you can write a literary work of art. Good luck. How many lifetimes do you think you'd need to be able to do one fucking Ian Fleming book? You would need 10 lifetimes.
Yep.
That's the reality of it. So no. You don't get to be on a woke-ass committee that is now going to go through and judge someone from the 50s, 40s, 30s on their work. And where does it end? Because you know they're never happy.
No,
and
they're
that's why
never happy.
That's why I mentioned Superbad mainly because even that, by the way, now is probably 10, 12,
20 years old.
Yeah, whatever. But like,
Jonah Hill's an old man now.
right.
Yeah,
but when you get closer and closer, I mean, what are we going to do? You're going to put out a movie, this year, and by next year we've all decided things are different, and just that's where
that's how
where
fast it goes.
That's exactly, exactly, and that was kind of my.
And there
point
are
mentioning
nobody knows
Superbad.
the rules, so you don't know what you're doing.
Oh, they're arbitrary as shit.
Right.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was so proud of Ben Stiller when he came out and stood by Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't apologize for that at all.
No.
And good for him.
Right.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Great
Absolutely.
movie.
Downey in blackface.
Downey in blackface. And if your take is Downey's wearing blackface, it's out. It's out. Well, you missed the whole point of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
You missed the whole fucking point.
I said Downey was on Rogan. He was talking about it, and he was like,
Oh, yeah?
He's like, we were talking like this is
They
a
knew
bad
at the
idea.
time.
He's like, this is a bad idea, but they were like, fuck it, let's do it,
And everybody there knew it had to be done that way.
Yeah, exactly. And then he goes,
Like Stiller going full Jack.
that was it. He goes, and then when it got all done, and I was waiting on the flight. He was like, everybody was just pissed at Ben for Happy Jack.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got
really?
to skate by, and I didn't catch shit for it.
He still does. There's still
of course,
articles
a little
after
bit.
the fact.
But at the
that are like,
time, he's like, I thought it was going to be all the heat was going to be on me for being in blackface. You know?
Yeah.
And in context of everything, that he's this method actor, that he
Right.
It's brilliant, is what it is.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And all the characters have their role in that movie.
Yeah.
And the more times you watch it, the more you pick up and the more brilliant it becomes.
Absolutely, it is.
know?
It's but highly underrated.
And
But that's another example of
they
where it would
also,
be very
Troy-
easy to just step back
Right.
and go, in hindsight, it was probably a mistake. It was a little tone deaf. I apologize.
Not
if we
to
offended
mention-
anyone, but no, he was like double down. Good for you.
Not to mention, they address it the entire movie with the black actor.
Yeah.
Like half the humor in it is
Exactly.
him shitting all over this guy who refuses not to be in blackface. Because he thinks he's in this war movie role as a black guy.
Right.
It's fucking hilarious.
It is.
It's a brilliant take on something like that. It pushes the envelope, which nobody wants their art not to push the envelope.
Yep.
It's the things that make people laugh when they laugh at this show. Pushing envelopes, saying absurd, extreme things, hoping to get a laugh out of people.
Yeah.
But you hope that if someone just goes through and goes, this sentence was said on this show without any context or knowing who the people are behind those comments, we would all sound like monsters. Isa sounds like a monster. I, of course, sound like a monster. You would sound like a monster. Jay, when he was here, would sound like a monster. But what people love about it is knowing the people on any show that they like, whether it's this show or any other show. I don't mean to point us out, but that's just the way it is. And I've always said, I do not give my permission for anyone to change a goddamn thing when I'm gone. If this show sits up on YouTube or whatever it is in the future that's hosting stuff, no. No one gets to go through and fucking come back 40 years later and change anything. This is the world we're living in, and it's all there laid out for you.
Well, that's part of you getting your affairs in order, sir.
Yeah.
So you're going to need to make sure that that's
That's written
documented.
down, right? That's a good
Right?
point. I mean, I know you said it here, but I think
I've said it. I'm on record. I'm on
Mm-hmm.
a hot mic saying it.
Well, you're on a hot mic saying all the shit that you're going to get in trouble for, too. So
Yeah. But I stand by all of
that's
it.
fine.
For real, when is the time? Do you think he should have a will at this point, Troy? What do you think? At his age, do you have a will?
No.
The problem is, I don't have anything.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Here, have my debt.
you want my drum set? You want
Right.
a couple TVs? Okay, but I don't have any money.
I'll take all your signed shit and sell it on eBay.
Yeah, you can, whatever.
There we go.
Tell me what
you heard
want.
it, T. You heard it.
Tell me what you want.
I said all your signed shit. He said, here you go.
There you go. Take it when you leave.
Yeah, get it out of here.
Start the purge.
Yeah, start letting you sell it now, and I'll split it with
What
you.
if I made a will right now? Imagine what would fucking, you want to talk about
Yeah,
nothing.
Tony.
Yeah, you can take the minivan.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I would understand if you had actual like generational wealth or something in
Yeah.
the bank, or just anything in the bank that you would, or especially if you had kids.
Yeah.
Like I get it. Like, oh, this kid gets this.
But the reality is that having gone through it with my dad, I realize the will doesn't essentially, unless there's very specific things in there.
Gotcha.
That it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
really?
Yeah, I mean, because whatever I have, all of my obligations, my debt, my things,
Yeah.
go to my kids.
Gotcha.
Just automatically.
Oh, like, no matter what, it would- that's how it
yeah,
would
it goes through
happen.
probate, and that's just how the process
Gotcha.
works.
It goes to your next living kin, right?
Right.
So,
To the
if you don't have a will, if you don't have a will
Exactly.
specifically saying
Okay.
it goes
exactly.
here,
So you can do it, and you can make very specific.
It doesn't just
changes
default
to
me.
that.
I
like, oh no, will I guess we'll just take
I
everything
thought
to
the
Salvation
government-
Army.
throw it all away.
figure the government would just take it all, fucking,
No.
No.
It goes that way. Like I said, I mean, if I'm just going to leave everything to my kids, then the will doesn't really do anything.
And I guess if it doesn't matter if you want very specific things to very specific
Right. I want this
people.
person to have this. I want this person to have this.
Yeah.
I want percentages. I want this to go there.
Yeah.
That's where that comes into effect.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, it just arbitrarily goes to your next kin, which would be my kids, which is going to do anyway.
And then I wonder if did they split it up?
damn it.
And then
Yeah, I think it's
and then
technically 50-50. And I've talked to the kids about it on
Gotcha.
what to do and all that. I just had to talk with them that when I do die, no matter when that is,
Yeah.
if their mom is still alive,
Oh, boy.
she's not invited to my funeral.
Nice.
She's not allowed to
You're
be
not
there.
getting a funeral.
Who are we just
Well,
talking about
whatever.
that wasn't
Just
invited?
any of
We're
it.
just gonna burn you anyways.
Yeah, I know.
Who you guys-
My
How's your-
celebration of life.
You know what? I remember going to I guess it was Beth's grandma or something passed away.
Yeah.
And we went to like grandma's house, and they had everything like that she owned,
Right.
set up in various rooms around the house. It was like, and so all the immediate family came over. It was like, take what you want. And so it was like, I want this bracelet, and it was like, okay, that bracelet's yours. Now you're up. What do you want? And it was
It
like,
just went in a line.
Yeah.
Have a draft.
Was there any?
Yeah, it was
was
kinda
there any
like a
big
draft.
fights at all? Or?
no, no. And I don't think she had a ton of shit, but
Right.
That's what I did with my dad too. Like, I mean, he had a ton of nothing is what he had,
Yeah.
essentially. You know, and I mean, things that were
stuff to you.
sentimental more than anything else. But anybody that wants any of this, come get it.
Yeah.
'Cause I had to do something with it. You got to clean this shit out. I had to,
Right.
fucking 2 40-yard dumpsters getting rid of stuff out of there.
Yeah.
And estate sales and all that shit. But
It's just an interesting to me. The more you're right. I didn't think about the fact that if you didn't have a will, it would
yeah,
just go.
I mean, he had a will, but that's essentially how it worked out anyway.
Gotcha.
So it would have been basically the same with or without the will.
Gotcha.
But technically,
I'm
I
dying
should.
over here. If I'm
Yeah,
lying.
we
were
holding
Good
the
job, guys.
conversation.
Good job.
Just like, we're not trying to be a pro like. He just collapses on the floor.
I know.
And like, hey, T, you got to
I
read
almost
over
did. I was getting a
there.
little lightheaded there. I'm like, fuck.
It would have been nice if he got you off camera at least for it.
I probably should have switched off the camera.
Yeah.
Just put me in.
As I'm just gagging over
And
here.
then he just never comes back.
Right?
He just goes into a read.
We just finished the show.
It's just a thump.
Right?
The screen is just me and T-Roy talking. And it's just like. Speaking of which.
Yeah. Hey, do you have insurance? Because we all need it, and most of us don't know what kind of coverage we have or who even provides it. You can let fellow TDC listener Brent Wasick from Wasick Insurance Services change all that. Brent has over 30 years in the business and offers all types of insurance coverage: auto, home, health, life, business, commercial, and more. So call Brent Wasick at 734-455-1900 and get a free no-obligation quote today. Again, that's 734-455-1900. And as for Brent Wasick at Wasick Insurance.
It is funny. He's right. I mean, it wasn't just like one cough.
No. I'm having a fit.
Yeah, that was a lung.
He went to like the trash can.
Yeah.
And we're
I
just.
think he
And
threw
so
up.
really, that's how it would work, huh? Interesting.
Yeah.
I thought we were actually incredibly professional.
You
throughout that
guys
whole
were.
thing.
You
we
were.
just kept that going.
You were.
You muted
But
the mic. We kept it going.
had it been a one thing, like I had a little, I wouldn't have said anything. But the fact is, it was going on for 10 straight minutes.
See, thank God I came back on a good day.
You know what? The doctor recently put
Because
me
if
on.
you weren't here,
just-
I would have been calling him out on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, what's going on there?
The doctor put me on something specific for that cough that I take like 3 times a day, a little capsule.
Breaking it up.
So that could be what's going
Little
on.
Mucinex.
Yeah. So I actually do feel better. I haven't been coughing nearly as much, but
You gotta get it out of
still
there.
have my moments. Good.
I saw a great
Lord.
E drinking that water bottle. Totally random, whatever. But I saw it was a video of a way to find out if your partner is cheating.
Oh, boy.
And it was kind of brilliant. It was like, go to like Salvation Army or wherever and buy just an arbitrary like water bottle. Everybody carries their little water bottles now,
Yeah.
right? Just something very nondescript or whatever. And at some point when you're in the car together, pull it out from under the seat and be like, oh, here, I found... No, don't say whose is this.
Yeah.
You say, oh, here, I found your water bottle. Must have, was under the seat or something. And by their reaction, if they're not... then they would go,
That's not mine.
I don't know what that is. I've never seen that before in my life. Where'd that come from? But if they are, they'll go, oh, great, thanks, and take it. Because they don't want to.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
the guy.
fuck. And I just saw you drinking out of that bottle, and I was like, you know what? That is.
You know the thing I think about when
genius.
I think of that, though, is like it's like when people get to the point where, whether it's, I'm only just in TV and movies for the most part, I don't have a lot of real life experience, but when people get to the point that we're like, oh, I'm thinking of hiring somebody, or I'm thinking of going down the route of, aren't you already there then? You think they're doing it. And maybe they're not, but your relationship
So you're
is
saying
kinda,
there's some confirmation bias going on?
well, I would say that, like, you must...
Yeah.
Something's going on in your relationship that you're worried enough to go, like, in this setting, to, get another water thing,
Sure.
be in the car, be
Yeah.
like... And
Well, maybe. I mean, there's generally signs. There's
So-
there's
maybe
red
that's just-
flags here and there.
I would say maybe that's just proof. You're proving maybe what you thought already. But to me, it's like, man, and if she says no, then you're just like, okay, I guess everything's fine, even though I had these feelings she's fucking some other guy.
No.
Like, I didn't trust her enough to set up this whole thing.
I
But
just thought it was this fairly genius little
Oh,
test.
it's a great idea.
Just
You
in
can
that-
do the
in
same
that-
thing. Just come in a condom and throw it under the seat and be like, I found this in the car. What says you? And she goes, oh,
right,
shit.
what's the difference?
Oh, thanks.
This was so bad. And I know a lot of people yelled out car windows I know that's not I didn't invent it, obviously, but we used to drive around doing that quite often, just yelling
Yelling.
out people out the windows
Yeah.
and shit. And one that I always, when I look back now, is not the nicest thing to do, but I always kind of liked was if I saw a dad and a daughter of like age that she might be not pure anymore.
Not
I mean,
what?
Pure anymore.
Okay, so 11
a
these
virgin.
days?
Yeah, right. Well, back then it was a little whatever.
it was
and we would
14
just
then.
yell like, "Your daughter's not a virgin," and the thought process was always either one, the daughter would react like, "Holy shit, how did
he
this
know?
person know?" And the dad would, or it's just a very awkward conversation between.
Is that
the dog-
true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Tell
know.
me.
I always liked it, but
I realized I've grown up the other day when it was raining and shitty and slushy or whatever. I was driving and I had the perfect setup. of a guy standing on the side of the road.
Oh, and you didn't hit him?
With a giant. Well, no, I didn't hit him either.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I'm so mature now.
With the
I
puddle.
didn't run the guy
I met
over
with
at
the
the
puddle.
bus stop. But yeah, there was a giant puddle right there, and I went, and the whole thing went through my mind. I was like, oh, I can fucking
Just bathe this guy.
crush this guy. And I was like, you know what? It's like a fucking nice guy, like waiting to catch a bus to go to work. And I was like, no, fuck that. I swerved out of the way and didn't hit the puddle.
Dude,
you know?
that's a real advancement.
Yeah,
for
while
you.
you're
It
growing up,
is.
T.
It is, dude. But I was like, oh, gosh.
Like, you just know that you could have, though. You
Yeah,
know that you
believe me,
could
that
have.
like 10 seconds was a whole lifetime in
That
my
thought
head.
process was there.
Yes, all of it.
That was when I stopped running trash cans over one time. I used to drive around neighborhoods just fucking after trash day and just sideswipe them, and they'd empty trash cans and they would just get fucking torn apart. And one day I did it, and accidentally it wasn't trash day yet. And the next
Still
day,
full?
you're still full.
Took your mirror off?
And I drove by the next day, and these old man's out there cleaning his trash. And I'm just like, dude, you gotta stop.
Did you pull over and help him?
No. Well, no.
Jesus. That would have been the nice thing to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I stopped
You
doing
didn't
it.
even have to admit guilt. Be like, oh, so who would do such a
What
thing?
kind of an
Crazy.
asshole?
That's a
Right?
good point. I could have looked like a great dude.
Exactly.
Wow, this is crazy. You know,
Good Samaritan,
Yeah.
helping the guy out.
I was on my way to work, and I'm going to be late, but I'm going to help you out, sir.
So that double wide on the outskirts. I think we've secured the lease on that.
I know I'm there. I'm just trying to stay there at this point.
Moving on to other things. There's a sexual assault lawsuit against Cowboys owner Jerry Jones.
What a shock.
Yeah.
How is it?
Well, it was dismissed in 2020.
Gotcha.
It's been revived by an appeals court. I'm assuming it's a lower court in Texas that it got kicked down to. And now the case is going to resume, possibly go to trial. Incident took place September 16th, 2018. So what would that be, like week 2?
September? Oh, yeah.
September.
Something, yeah, early in the season there.
Happened at AT&T Stadium the day they hosted the Giants. So, yeah, I'm
Rivalry
assuming
game.
that would be week 2 probably of the NFL season back in 2018. So there's a whole, I think sexual assault runs the gamut. Obviously.
Yeah, oh, yes, it does.
Yeah, but I don't know if sexual assault, like, there's that guy famously in prison in L.A., and he sexually assaulted a 10-year-old girl in a Denny's bathroom on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. And then when they're going to send him to prison, and you've got Gascon there, and he's like, I'm trans. And so he's like, good enough for me. He's this bearded guy who's a violent, he's got like 3 accusations of sexual assault, but I don't know if that means rape. So does that mean you diddled a girl in the bathroom?
Yeah, I mean, sexual assault can be as much as
Not that
grabbing a boob. I think.
Right.
You know, smacking
Would
an
it be
ass.
isn't it
Smacking an
verbal?
ass
I
is
mean-
technically sexual assault.
Yeah.
If it's not
That story, by the way,
consented.
the prosecutor, because they have all the jailhouse phone calls with him, between him and his dad.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And the whole time he's laughing about all this shit. Like, I'm not getting shit, Dad. No. They're just gonna plea this down. The thing is, you got to call me a she. I chose the name Hannah because it's spelled the same, but backwards and forwards. And the dad's like, what? And so he's like,
Christ.
my lawyer's gonna call you. And so the lawyer calls him, and then the dad calls back and is like, hey, Hannah, and he's like, what? What's that? But this
Like
is all
he already
on tape.
forgot,
He
right?
already forgot.
Exactly.
And he's like,
Hannah.
your lawyer, Hannah, called. He's like, oh, yeah. But they're laughing about it.
Great.
Yeah, they're going to send me to the juvenile hall, even though he's 26, but it happened when he was 17, a couple months short of 18th birthday.
Was he
So
trans back
Gascon
then?
is going to throw this fucking guy into a female juvie with 16-year-old girls. He's been credibly accused on 3 occasions of diddling children. This guy is a violent sexual predator. By the way, since then, he's now been accused credibly with DNA evidence linking him to a murder at a campsite where he beat a guy to death with a fucking rock.
He's a trans person, Mike.
So the lawyer, the prosecutor, has listened to like 250 phone calls, jailhouse phone calls that are all recorded, and he's like, this guy is gaming the fucking system. He knows, blah, blah, blah. He gets suspended for these internal emails of calling him he.
Oh my God.
And Gascon has suspended him for trying to point out that this guy is fucking making a
Let's
mockery
keep it
of
going,
the
man.
system.
Ride a train till it's done, dude.
Yeah, there it is, Hannah Tubbs.
Wow.
And he goes by Hannah Tubbs now.
Oh, you're going to get suspended.
Yeah. Shay Santa is the prosecutor, and he's got like 3 daughters. He's like, fuck this. You know, are you kidding me? We're going to stick this violent predator into a fucking female jail with, or a
Even
juvenile
worse,
system?
juvenile.
Just unbelievable.
Right in his wheelhouse, because it was a 10-year-old girl in Denny's, right? So
Yeah.
he likes them young.
Yeah, he likes them very young. There was like a 4-year-old too he was accused of.
Class.
Yeah, but you know, he knew and was just
Yeah.
so vocal, laughing about what a joke
Why don't we let
the
this
system
guy,
is.
you know, while the system plays itself out, wait it out in a male, adult prison, and let's
Yeah.
But he's not a male, though. It'd be uncomfortable
let's
for him.
see
Well, some of the handlers in the
let's see
fucking
how it works out for him.
in the female prison were getting on him about something, and they were like, "Listen here," they were calling him a child or something because he was in the juvenile thing, and he's like, "Fuck you! I'm a grown ass man. I'm a grown ass man."
I mean, I know. Well,
So I think they've since transferred him to the male one. But the fact that these internal emails through the prosecutor's
Yeah,
office
but that's the problem is
Called
that
him a
he
he.
was misgendering him.
misgendering him.
by the way,
was
real nice,
problem.
dude. You get it, man. You get what you need. You're in the juvenile women's thing, and you can't still like contain the anger
Right.
to say I'm a grown ass man. Like
Yeah.
you can't just
Fuck
hold
you!
back.
I'm a grown ass man.
Like, dude, maybe just tamp it down a little bit at
Yeah.
this point.
You already won. It's like
Yeah.
that was the Trump effect.
I don't
Okay,
know if
reel
that-
it in. You won.
He might have just been in the women's facility at that point.
Yeah.
It might not have been that he was still in the juvenile.
Gotcha.
But that was the thing at the time. They wanted to put this 26-year-old man in the fucking women's juvenile.
Even if he was a juvenile when it happened, why would he be a juvenile now?
Exactly, which was this prosecutor's point. Like, why would we know he's a violent sexual
Right.
Like, repeat offender. Why would we put him with troubled fucking victims like 16, 15, 14, 13-year-old girls? We know this motherfucker is going out of his way to rape these girls. Well, this makes no sense. They're like, oh, did you call him a he?
Yeah.
Well, you're
Outta here.
suspended.
You're outta
You're
here.
suspended. It's like, go fuck yourself, man. But anyway, I mentioned that because there's levels. So Jerry Jones.
Oh yeah, Jerry Jones.
Going back to Jerry Jones,
What'd he
is
do?
accused of he kissed a woman on the mouth and forcibly grabbed her without her consent. So when they say forcibly grabbed, does that mean he grabbed her arm, he grabbed her ass, he grabbed a titty? I really think it's important that you let us know. Like, if he grabbed her by the ass and pulled her in and kissed her,
Yeah.
still wrong.
Yeah, and that it would be forcibly grabbing her,
Right.
Grabbing her and shaking the shit out of her.
Yeah.
I
Not
don't
having
think
her
that's-
way more. Has Jerry Jones not had more? Just things like I just feel like.
Well,
that'd
he's been
be a-
married. He's been
Yeah,
married.
yeah.
for the most part, he's actually been pretty clean.
That's crazy.
I mean,
just, you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
When the
He's been
shot-
married to Eugenia since 1963, though.
How? Wow.
My guess is Eugenia is not hanging in there with the looks, you know?
Yeah, right.
And he's a billionaire.
So I wonder how many people he's nailing on the side.
Oh, my God. He claims that these accusations are hurtful and malicious. The woman says the incident, of course, caused her severe emotional distress.
Yeah, probably about $100 million worth of stress, I would think.
Psychological pain and suffering and medical expense. Wait, medical expenses?
I guess technically therapy falls under the medical expenses.
Okay. Or, if you got like mouth herpes or something from him, that would.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the incident occurred in the Tom Landry room in the stadium. Bring Tom Landry into this. Good old Tom.
She's not
Smirching
too
the
bad.
good name of the hat.
Like she's not. She could be worse, man. To me.
Yeah, for an 80-year-old
yeah.
woman.
Yeah, sure.
Like that's. I would say doable.
Yeah.
I mean,
What the
She's
hell?
up there with a Nancy Pelosi.
I thought it was gonna be way worse though. You know what I mean?
She's been able to afford probably chefs and who
Oh,
can
yeah.
feed her properly for 50, 60, 70 years.
She's had a little work done.
She's had some work done. She can afford all that.
Yeah.
But for Jerry.
But hey, to our point from before, for having work done, That's pretty good work.
It's not bad.
She does not
It
look
doesn't
like a monster, right?
overtly obvious.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's not offensive looking.
Although, look at this up, Jerry. I don't know if this is from the assault in question.
He
or
looks
not.
hammered there, doesn't he?
Sure. Yeah. Look at but the level of drunkenness is directly proportionate to the number of unbuttoned buttons.
Right? Yeah, always right.
Yeah, he looks glassed
Sure.
over.
Right.
Do you think his wife cares at that point? He's probably 70
Right.
there.
Why the fuck no? Why would you? You better not.
Yeah.
Of course. You've given me the life of my dreams forever. Just don't go to jail. And don't get fucking AIDS,
Real stupid. Yeah.
you know.
By the way, Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys in 1989. What do you think he bought the Dallas Cowboys for?
Heard this. Damn it.
$100 million.
Okay, that's not bad. So we know the Lakers in the 70s were sold for like $12 million. It included the stadium and a fucking like mega ranch with 100 acres or something in Los Angeles for like 20 million or 12 million or something when Jerry Buss bought it. He bought the Dallas Cowboys for $150 million.
150. Oh, that's pretty close.
Do you know what it's estimated the Dallas Cowboys are worth now?
$3 billion.
Oh,
$100 billion. I don't know.
No, yeah,
that's
that's
$3 billion.
$3 billion's a good guess.
I was gonna say that's not too far off. I would guess. Yeah, probably.
No,
like,
it's off because we know teams have sold for
yeah.
is it
I'm
like
gonna go
$5 billion,
10?
and the
I'm
Cowboys.
gonna say I would say probably like I was gonna say 5 to 6 billion.
I'll change it to 10.
if you think of the Clippers selling for a couple $1 billion, now the Dallas Cowboys, they're estimated to be worth $13.6 billion.
13.6 billion.
He bought it for $150 million, not in the 30s, in like 1990, and it is now worth $13.6 billion.
Did he pay for Jerry World, or did the fucking taxes pay
Probably
for
not.
Jerry World?
Probably not.
100 fucking billion.
Who knows?
I
Texas
know.
is weird. Who knows how they did that? But because that was a $5 billion stadium when he built Jerry's World.
Right.
Jones is currently in a different legal battle. A judge has ordered him to take a paternity test to find out if he's the biological father of a 26-year-old woman. In March last year, Davis, this chick, Davis, Alexandra Davis, sued Jones, asking a judge to void a legal agreement. She said her and her mother, Cynthia Davis, reached with Jones back in the day. Okay? I think you take issue with these stories,
Back
T.
when a handshake was good enough and you had a deal and you can't renege on them.
They had a deal.
Yep.
That deal was, I will support them financially as long as they didn't publicly say he was Alexander's father. Something the Cowboys owner has denied. He's married, obviously, but he's like, look, I'll put them up. They can live where they want. I'll pay for their life going forward. Just can't admit. And Cynthia, the mother, signed off on this agreement. Now the daughter. So what do you think? Because I know, T, in the past, you've had the attitude like, hey, man, if we can't, if Donald Trump can't get blown by fucking Stormy Daniels and pay her a couple $100,000 to shut the fuck up, well, what are we doing here?
A contract should be a contract, regardless.
Yeah.
And voiding the contract should have penalties.
Here's the thing, though.
What would be the penalty if he said, go fuck yourself and stop paying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That he kept up his end of the bargain, as far as I can tell. They didn't come public because he stopped paying. She came public because she figures she can make more money that way than not. Or maybe she just wants to know her daddy.
Here's the caveat to this story, and why I think it's different, because I tend to agree with you. Hey, Stormy, now that this guy's become president, you blowing him is probably worth a lot more than $150,000 when you're blowing an actual president.
Yep.
That story didn't mean as much when it was a game show host you blew. Now that he's the president, sorry, you signed a deal as a fucking 30-year-old woman. You don't come back on it. Cynthia, the mom, signs this deal with Jerry Jones. The problem is Alexandria at the time was 2.
Yep.
So now the 2-year-old is 26 and is gone to court and is like, this is my dad. And I know my mom thought that rent being paid and some groceries was enough, but he's my fucking dad, and that's bullshit. So
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It is
you know
a
what I
little
mean?
different.
But technically, I mean, I don't know how much he was paying, but all he's on the hook for is child support,
right.
right?
Well, is he though?
Yes.
Because as a
yes.
But when you're worth however many billions he's worth, that child support would be.
Well, as I said, I don't know
could be
how
$5 million a month.
I don't know how much that he was paying them. Right? It's probably not going to be quite that much. It's child support.
He's probably paying their fucking rent for life.
I mean, like I say, it's taken
Probably
care
bought
of.
him a condo or a house.
So those are probably, I'm guessing, somewhat comparable. Okay, because child support's based on the money, but it's also,
Not in this case, it wouldn't be though, because you're not acknowledging you're the parent.
No, it doesn't matter. You don't have to acknowledge it. I mean, I'm saying, if like child support is structured, it's not arbitrary. Like
Right,
it's a calculation. It's this much to this much with these days and whatever, and you pay this much.
What they're trying to avoid, the courts, is super rich dad has the fucking 10-bedroom mansion and divorces mom, and mom's living in a fucking 2-bedroom shitty apartment, and when kid goes to dad's house, it's fucking Disneyland, and then goes to mom's shithole apartment, and they went, no. It has to be comparable living that the child is used to, so that it's not such a disadvantage for the child when it goes to mom's house or dad's house, whoever the poorer of the two is, right?
Yeah.
I have that right?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with the process.
Oh, I know.
Right. But, so I'm saying is that
this kid is not living in a fucking mega mansion in Dallas.
No,
like
nor.
Daddy is.
But that's not. That's not the way that it works either. It like I said, it's not. There's an absolute calculation of income versus visitation rights, period, and that's only through 18. She's now 26.
Right.
So if he's been paying X amount for them every month, every year, whatever it is, for 26 years. 24 years, whatever he's been paying it, then that money would theoretically go toward money that he would owe them for child support. So even if they came back and they said, okay, for those 18 years. Is that all relative,
though, T? Because what you would pay for an apartment in 1980 would be a hell of a lot different than what you would pay in 2023.
Yeah, but I'm sure that... I mean, I don't know what the deal is. If you can tell me what the numbers are, we can argue that. You said, but he paid for them to live, so it's not. I don't think he was giving them $500 a month.
Right.
Would be my guess. I'm thinking they got.
She just wants to come out and say, "Hey, you're my dad," and she doesn't agree with that at two. I mean, that's where if you're not about money, that's one thing. If she just wants to come out and say, "Hey, I know my mom made this agreement, but I'm just saying you're my dad."
I was a 2-year-old, and Jerry Jones is my father, and I want to know my brothers, and I want to know my cousins, and I want to be part of the will. He birthed me just like he birthed you, and I didn't have the ability to consent at 2 years old when my mom signed a stupid agreement.
Just because he shit you out of his dick doesn't entitle you to anything except child support. That's my point.
Yeah.
Nothing except technically child support. So you don't have to know your fucking family. You don't have to know. You don't have to be in the will. I promise you're not going to be in the fucking will.
Yeah.
Because he's got one, and it's going to say, fuck that bitch.
Yeah. I thought it was really shitty. Biden had Christmas is a big deal at the White House, and when Trump's there, and it's just like First Lady, give her something to do, decorate the you're in charge of the decoration of the house for the holidays and whatnot. And so the Bidens had all the stockings lined up for all the grandkids, right? And so they got, I don't know, he's 196 years old, so he's got, I don't know, a couple hundred grandkids or whatever at this point. Anyway, I'm being facetious, obviously, but they've got stockings for all the grandkids with all their names on there, except for the fucking bastard child that fucking Hunter had with some skank ass. And
wasn't included?
They've proven without a doubt that is his child, which means that's fucking Biden's grandchild. Yeah. Whether he wants to acknowledge that or not, and to have 30 fucking grandchild stockings all up and to fucking ignore Hunter's shitty fucking whore ex's big child and not have a stocking for that kid, just shows who people are as humans. Sure. Just shitty. So it says Cynthia Davis reached this agreement with Jones 2 years after she was born. The 98 settlement allegedly said that Jones would support them financially as long as they didn't publicly say he was Alexandra's father, something the married owner of the Cowboys denied.
Right.
I would say if I was that daughter, by the way, personally, you're being stupid because
it sounds like you'll shut it off at 26.
It sounds like you just keep getting the money. if you didn't shut, and
Unless, for all we know, in 1998, he was probably wealthy. He was not $13.6 billion owner of the Cowboys wealty, but he would have been very, very wealthy.
Absolutely.
Let's be clear.
Yep.
He would have been maybe a billionaire.
98 coming off of 3 Super Bowls.
And it would be based on those years. Not what he's worth now, what he was worth during those 18 years of that.
Would
thing.
it really?
Of course. I mean,
Well, it would have ended when she was 18, which would
Exactly.
have put it in the early 2000s or something.
And I mean, I don't know what this contract is. I assume Jerry Jones, even at that time, had good lawyers that
would
put this
imagine,
shit
yes.
together.
Yeah.
So
That's what I'm saying. I think she's probably being stupid, personally.
He could probably sue for breach of contract and get his money back.
Yeah.
And then they could go, okay, but then you would owe this much for child support or whatever, and they could figure it out, and who knows? But the reality is that people, and I get it, okay? As a father, yes, it would be shitty to be a girl and be like, I can't acknowledge who my father is because you were getting paid, all this time.
Yeah.
I want to know my father. Fine.
And,
but you should.
Who knows what that mom did with that money? Maybe this girl. I know it doesn't matter, but when you're talking about the things of the heart, when you're talking about family, at some point, most people want to know who their family is.
Sure.
It's very, very common for a kid to grow up and then want to know. When they go through adoption.
Here's
at an
where
early
it loses
age.
all that shit: is that you don't do it publicly. Fine. You want to get to know your dad, you reach out to him, say, look, I understand. That was the deal. You're my father. I would like to, start a relationship. I would like to get to know you. You don't go public with it. That's where it's all bullshit.
And what we don't know is maybe she's been trying to do that for a decade.
And maybe.
You want to let her up. Is Bogey over here?
Is it just open the door or what?
Yeah, just open the door and let her. She's clearly barking about someone being here. Or something. Settle down, Cease.
Okay.
But, for all we know, and it's very hard to fully have this conversation, Troy, because we have literally one sentence in details, which is not the best way to discuss a legal document that was signed. And you're right. He would have had a treasure trove of attorneys at the
Absolutely.
time.
Yeah.
And God knows what agreement was signed. But for all we know, the mom has spent the majority of this money, which would have been this daughter's birthright or something. But
that's not how. I mean, the child support goes to the mother to support the kid, which I assume she did. Unless she left the kid in the streets and was out just fucking doing blow.
It'd be really hard to square that, though. If you were a kid and had no say in anything, your mom signed some stupid thing, and now as you get older, your half brothers are running the Cowboys. Jerry Jones's actual sons are, this one's the VP, this one's the president. They're going to take over the family business, whether it's oil or Cowboys. And their lives are radically different than some slut he banged 26 years ago and produced a child with. I would think a court would look differently on it today than it would have in 1989 as to what that child's rights would have been. And that were signed away to a woman that's not that child.
But the child doesn't have rights until they're 18. The parent has the rights over that child until they're 18.
But can't the kid then go, my mom made a shitty deal that I had no say in. I can't believe the court signed off on this. My guess is they were swindled by this guy's hometown lawyers in Dallas, and you fucked me over. I never got to know my family. I never got to know my dad. I never got to know my brothers and sisters, my cousins.
It happens. It happens all the time. But you're not entitled
but not
to that.
with billionaires involved. Okay, it's not.
No, believe me, it does. Of course it does.
Not
but
quite.
What I'm saying, just
that.
because it's his kid doesn't mean that now all of a sudden she's like in line for the throne. She's not going to be an heir to the fortune. She was estranged for a reason.
Couldn't she argue though that?
No.
Couldn't she argue though that given a chance they would have fallen in love with me like any other child? It might have been under shitty circumstances they got to know me, but
There's
basically,
the mom and daughter, by the way, for the rest worth.
Okay.
And so basically,
it looks like they're doing just fine. Would be my guess.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure they are on some level.
Of course.
But
he's not paying for their trailer park. You know what I mean? I'm sure they've been doing just fine.
But this is basically a selfish billionaire male doesn't want to have the uncomfortable conversation with his wife that he cheated on her 26 years ago, and I'm the product of that. And so because of that, you basically made sure I was never given a chance to have any sort of existence with my actual father or my brothers and sisters and cousins.
You're totally missing this. You're totally.
I'm not missing it. I'm just telling you what.
No, because she didn't miss out on a chance. It was his choice. If he wanted to be involved, he would have and could have. He chose not to. Yeah. Now, at the point when he found out it was his kid, there's basically two things that can happen, right? He's on the hook for child support. Period. End of story. He has no other obligation to her whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Period. Now, for all we know, this was a much better deal. And from the sounds of it, it was, because it was, I will pay for you to live into perpetuity as long as you don't ever say this, right? So this, for all we know, that they made out way better on this deal, with the exception of, not being able to say, he's my father. You know how many estranged kids there are in this fucking world where their dads just abandon them and don't want anything to do with them? It doesn't matter how much money they have. It doesn't matter what they've accomplished.
Oh, it matters how much money they have.
No, it doesn't. How?
Yes.
How? What do you mean?
Because that calculation could have been radically different had the acknowledgement been at the time that this was Jerry Jones. I understand deadbeat fathers.
But you don't know.
I understand child support.
You don't know that he's not paying him more than that. He could have been paying him more than what he was actually obligated to had it been to child support. And it would have only been till she was 18.
Right.
If that were the case. The only difference is he would have had to have that conversation with his wife.
Yeah.
And I would rather, it is worth more to me. Either way, if I have to have this conversation with you, you're fucking dead to me anyway. I'm not gonna you know what I mean? You're not going to treat you like my child. I'm not going to have you over for Thanksgiving. I'm not going to hang your fucking stocking on my mantle at Christmas.
Yeah.
But here, I will take care of you. It's worth it to me. And I'm betting that was probably paid more than what the child support would have been, and has been for longer, right?
Yeah.
So you want to act like she got fucked in this deal. I don't know that
she
necessary.
got fucked in this deal.
No.
I just know that.
But you act like, the point was that you were trying to say, like, what she could have had and what would have been. Well, no, that's not her choice. It's his. And if he wanted that, he would have, and he could have. So, but it's not like this was some secret backdoor deal, because technically child support can be done outside of the court system if parties agree and sign to it.
Right.
It doesn't have to be handled through
family court. Yeah.
Right. It doesn't have to be. That's the overseeing by, what people that don't want to do it, and it has to be enforced.
Yeah.
But, grown-ups can handle it themselves as long as everybody agrees. Then it's fine. And it might be more than what it would be through the court, and it might be less than it would be through the court. As long as both parties agree to it, it's legal and it's binding.
I can imagine that if I was a child of something like that, because this is wealth on a level that is untouchable for 99.9% of the globe, right? So for her, it's like, I was 2. I didn't do anything wrong. Had this uncomfortable conversation been had when I was a 2-year-old, that it would have been out in the open. And I'm speaking of the heart. I'm not talking about the legalities. Yeah. I totally understand what you're saying. I do. Had this uncomfortable conversation taken place between Eugenia and Jerry, and he was forced to acknowledge it, and forced on some level to acknowledge publicly, whatever, that this was his child. Once those wounds start to heal, it's not uncommon for a child to sort of get into their parents' life and stuff. But that would be made much, much, much more difficult if it was just a simple write-a-check transaction that was agreed to by your mom when you were 2. And as a child growing up in that, knowing that right down the road is all these we see their family every Thanksgiving, they're on TV, playing in Jerry's world. That should have been and could have possibly been my existence had I been given the opportunity to be an adorable kid that fucking warmed their way into the hearts of my father. But I wasn't given that chance, and I was told to shut the fuck up, don't jeopardize the $300,000 a year he's given us, or $1 million a year he's given us. I know the legalities. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's a different story. Had this just blown up and been in the National Enquirer in 1998, and then let's see how this shakes out. Because he would have either been on the hook for a tremendous amount of money for 18 years.
What is the so is this in court now? What is the point of the story?
Yeah, I think she's suing to get acknowledgement.
There you go.
Well, at some point, what can you do? You know, I mean, if he won't acknowledge it, and you're,
nothing, and
hold on, let me make sure of that.
I mean,
He's currently in a different legal battle,
right,
where a judge has ordered him. So a judge is now ordering him to take a paternity test to find out if he's the biological father.
Of course, and if
and
he's
of course
paying for it, he is. That's fine. But I mean, that's arbitrary. He has to know if it's the father.
Yeah.
And then again, but or
yeah,
whatever.
we could go round and round, but
Yeah. I mean, sure, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I mean, if my aunt had a dick, it'd be my uncle.
No,
but
I understand that, but you're talking about a 2-year-old who had no say in this.
Right.
Decisions were made by adults that affected her life on some
that's-
level.
Yeah, but
And
she's
that
also
is
26 at this point. How long has she known? It sounds like a while.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the mom probably always told her to shut the fuck up. Or maybe she did a DNA test and figured it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, I mean, again, she doesn't have rights as a kid. The parents have the rights as the kid to sign and decide on the well-being of the kids.
Not for long.
Yeah, right.
I mean, 13-years are getting their titties removed.
Yeah.
Whether their parents like it or not.
Well,
I know
that's
that's
true.
not quite.
No, I know.
That's true,
but I mean, it's very cut and dry.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it just is. And if he wanted to be a part of her life,
so would he have gone to friend of the court in Dallas? Or would that have been a much bigger and different legal battle when you're talking about the money that he has?
I'm sure he would have. The whole point of it was to try and keep it out of the courts, keep it not be public.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she could have said, "No, go fuck yourself. I want to do it." And if it was better for her, my guess is that he was paying them more in this situation than it would have been if it was just, okay, that's my child. You're on the hook for child support. It is what it is.
Yeah. And the truth of the story is probably that Jerry long ago had this conversation with Eugenia, maybe even at the time, and was like, look, at the risk of embarrassing my wife, who I love deeply, I want to keep this out of the papers. And look, Eugenia and I have agreed that we're going to cover this family's expenses, but we're not going to acknowledge this. It was a fling that happened. We've gotten over it. We wish them well, this mother and child.
Exactly.
We will cover their. So that could easily be the case too. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that you.
No, it's not like like all of a sudden she's going to figure it out. No, that's the irrelevance of the story is whether or not it was about being public, not about Eugenia.
Right.
So.
But I was alluding to the fact like Eugenia's in the dark about this. Well, Jerry could have easily told her at the time. Look, I fucked this chick on a rando weekend in New York, and we were on a road trip. I was cocktailing with the boys. I ended up banging this whore.
Trip, fell in her pussy.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got $1 billion dick. Where are you going?
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
Okay, we've got Hershey. How do we feel about Hershey's?
Hershey
Chocolates.
Vale, Hershey, Pennsylvania, Hershey
chocolates.
It's very, very basic for me.
Okay.
Kisses
fan?
It's good. Barely.
Yeah.
I prefer a kiss with an almond in there.
Great call.
That's
Those
a good
are great.
move.
Those are good.
And parlay that out to Hershey's with almonds as opposed to just a straight Hershey bar.
Is that a Mr. Henry?
No, it's a Hershey's with almonds.
Okay. Or an O. Henry bar? What are those?
Mr. Good Bar?
Mr. Good Bar? I don't know why, when the power went out here and I fucked off to Brighton, I was looking for treats for Cece because I know her gram keeps treats and stuff. And as I'm rifling through a couple of the cupboards, they've got a couple gigundous Hershey bars. So it's probably something my mom bakes with or whatever. And I was like, well, I'm kind of hungry and it looks kind of delicious. I was very, very impressed with the Hershey chocolate. I really was. I can't tell you the last time I went into a store and bought a Hershey bar.
No.
Like Kisses. Mike Clark and I went on a kick with Hershey Kisses for a long time, and then he upped the game and went into the Dove chocolate, which is next level. And Clark really got into this expensive, Dove chocolate world and milk chocolate world and whatnot. But
don't even get me started on Godiva.
Right? Yeah. Oh, I'm a big fan. Big fan. I've been to their big place. It's on the water in San Francisco downtown. And I've gone through there, and they've got everything. All those Godiva chocolates. They have a million more than you even realize. And the coffees, the hot chocolates. It's like a poor man's Willy Wonka factory.
Okay.
You know? I mean, I recommend going. It's got the Wait, what chocolate did you say?
Godiva. You think
Godiva. I'm thinking Ghirardelli. Sorry, I'm thinking Ghirardelli.
I was thinking that, but I let you go.
You let me go. Godiva's fine too, but Ghirardelli, I can get onto a Ghirardelli kick with the best
Or is it
of them.
Ghirardelli?
Ghirardelli, I believe.
I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't ask anyone there, but they've got this beautiful Ghirardelli sign right on the water, and it's like, oh yeah, I went through there. It was nice. There was a nip in the air that evening, and I believe I got a hot chocolate or something.
Fabulous.
Yeah, it was great. Anyway, Hershey's, she.
Don't fucking do it.
They've got
Don't do it.
what? They've got she in the name. So for
And her.
that's right, her, she.
This is their pronouns, so they're going to put a slash in between it.
Right, exactly.
They're going to have two bars like left and right Twix. They're going to have he, hims, and her, she's.
Yeah, I prefer to call them he, are, she's. So get the he in there because men are better, obviously, than women.
Fair.
Right? Of
course.
We can all agree with that. Duh. So anyway, the hashtag boycott Hershey's was going around. I'm not a fan of the boycott, whatever. Even in a case like this, like it's stupid as shit. It would never make me go buy a Hershey bar anyways. But I'm above the boycott.
Yeah.
You're not going to boycott Hershey out of business. Sorry.
No, not on any level.
But anyways, they were celebrating International Women's Day, and apparently they've done this for a while. Faye Johnstone is one of the 5 people featured in this new campaign, which uses the Hershey's She Bar. Well, you don't need the she after Hershey's. You've got she in the fucking thing, and to your point, you've got her in the name.
Yeah. Why don't you just drop the Y on the end?
Yeah,
And then you've got a straight Hershey bar.
yeah. By the way, the vice president or president of Hershey's in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Do you remember going there to his
Absolutely.
house? Yeah, Corey Davidson, who we went to school with, she was my homecoming date senior year.
Yeah. She was doing a U.S. Open qualifier.
She was doing a U.S. Open tennis qualifier, and she was staying at the Hershey family mansion.
Well.
And so Troy and I drove her car down there, I think.
Yeah, that's a whole shit show.
It's a shit show,
with
but
other people and
yeah,
2 cars.
She was like, "Oh my God, you guys should come down here." And I don't know why she wanted her car, but of course we were like, "Yeah, we'll take your car down to Hershey, Pennsylvania."
Yeah, we were going to drive the car down, and then we were going to take a bus back. Her dad was getting
Something
a
like
bus
that.
back or a train or whatever it was
Yeah.
back. And we were going down, going to hang out for the weekend and come back. And then it devolved from there. Like,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Other people got involved.
Oh, boy.
It was a shit show.
But it was weird when you think of like castles with the one where who's the bitch with the really long
Rapunzel.
hair? Rapunzel, isn't she up in the castle?
It would be, yeah. That's why
Yeah,
she let her hair down.
It was like that though, if you remember. Like it was that
Rapunzel,
tower.
let down your hair so I can climb up and get into your underwear. Beastie Boys. fuck
Yeah.
you.
Sorry.
So anyway, but it was like that Rapunzel castle, and she had like her
Yeah.
own wing of the Hershey mansion or whatever.
Huh.
We
That's
went and got
all
a
I think of with
we went and
Hershey.
got a hotel room because we wanted to
Yeah.
party there.
Yeah.
Like, we'll go get a room. And we just got
Yeah.
drunk. We were like in high,
17,
yeah, we were in
16?
high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I think of with Hershey is that
Got
Hershey,
wasted and
Pennsylvania
drove
trip.
home from Pennsylvania that night.
Really?
And who drove home
Troy.
the whole way?
But
Yeah.
where did the car come from then?
There ended up being
Okay.
like 6 of us going.
Gotcha. That's where
Yeah.
shit show
Yeah.
comes into play.
Yeah,
Oh my
we
God.
drove Corey's car down, but then it was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, a bunch
So
of
then-
friends came with us, and
Yeah.
do you remember more details than I do?
I almost killed us all. You guys were all fucking asleep, and
Yeah.
I fell asleep. And I went across. I went across 4 or 5 lanes. Luckily, it was
Jesus
like
Christ.
3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Coming back.
Yeah.
Like just before
Why would you
sun
not
up.
just stay? Okay.
He already announced it was a whole thing.
Yeah, I'm
Did you
sorry.
forget
I'm
that
sorry.
part?
Because some bitch told her parents that she was going to Cedar Point for the day,
Gotcha.
and I'm supposed to be
yeah.
home tonight. I was like, "Fuck you, tough shit. You're fucked."
Right.
And then all the other girls it was one of the
That's
girls' cars,
right.
a Caprice, Jody Watson's
Yeah.
mom's car.
Gotcha.
Was like, no, yeah, we should just go. Like, it's like midnight and we're wasted. Like, yeah, well, let's just go. Let's
Oh,
get
like
her
a
home.
7-hour drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I drove home. Everybody's out cold. And I fucking finally nod off. And I wake up. I went all the way across 4 lanes onto the rumble strips. By the time I woke up, was like, that fucking Caprice. And the one girl, nobody even blinked.
that wild when you
The
think
one
about
girl
life?
was laying across the whole front. That's how many people we had in the car.
Yeah.
And she was laying across the 3 people's lap. Her head was on my lap.
Yeah.
And she goes, "You okay?" And I'm like,
Fine.
"Yep, good."
Felt better.
She's like, "Okay."
Yeah,
Goes right back
This
to
is
sleep.
right out of a Clark Griswold movie.
Isn't that wild to think about, dude? Oh, it could have
I was
all
like,
ended
dude, I
right
could
there,
just-
man. All this,
Yeah,
the whole
could've
thing
killed
you've
8
had
people right there.
after that.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, because this bitch had to go home. What?
God, dude, I don't remember the details.
Sounds like Troy hasn't. Now that it's been brought
he's
up.
been holding this. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, no.
Troy was always Troy would handle the business that needed to be handled. So it was like, oh, okay, we're all
and there was a lot of
shit-faced.
business that needed to be handled throughout the years.
Yeah. So if we're all shit-faced and now this is dropped in our lap, and because your parents figured out you weren't where you were supposed to be, now we all have to go home. But of course you're not going to drive because you're shit-faced.
Right.
Troy would end up being the guy that did it.
Yeah.
Troy would be the guy that got the hotel room for everybody because he could get the fake ID. And then when the cops showed up, he would have to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like shit like that.
Yep.
But it just kind of always fell into T's lap.
Oh, that would have been. I would have had.
But he could handle himself. Even at a young age, he could handle himself.
I tried to be a nice guy, but that would have been. I'd have been like, dude, if I heard a bus ticket.
Oh, the stories.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, except it was the other girl. They're like, yeah, it was her car. Okay, whatever.
Well, you
Anyways,
guys,
moving on.
Okay.
So anyway, this has nothing to do
Hershey,
with it.
Pennsylvania.
The Hershey company, and they, I don't know what Hershey's doing. Why don't we watch the ad? It features Faye Johnson, one of the 5 women. They want to shine a light, Hershey, on the women that inspire us.
Did they assume
and
gender?
Of course, no. This is a trans woman.
Oh, boy,
and so
of
people
course.
are like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Can we have a single Woman's Day acknowledgement that doesn't include biological men in
Right.
it? Really, Hershey's?" And so that's why the boycott Hershey thing is going around. But that's
Alongside 4 brilliant sisters and change makers.
So this is from the trans chick.
The
saying
chocolate's
that.
out of the wrapper. If this chick drops a big black cock out, I'm leaving.
So it's the trans chick that's saying this. The chocolate's out of the wrapper, hanging out with 4 brilliant sisters, and they're all like, yeah, maybe 4 brilliant women, and then whatever the fuck you are, sweetheart. So go ahead, E. Why don't we play it and we'll see. I have not even
My
seen
name
this
is Faye
yet.
Johnstone. I'm the executive director of Wisdom to Action. We can create a world where everyone is able to live in public space as their honest and authentic selves. See the woman changing how we see the future.
All right, can we go back and pause that at the
The
5?
giant Adam's apple.
No, I wanted to check the status of the other 4.
So we've got a black girl.
I think the other 4 are all actual women, and so the only one that's actually a white person is, of course, the
a
dude.
man.
Yeah.
With a gigundous Adam's apple. And believe me, for anybody that was on the fence, like, is that a woman? Or it's kind of got some manly features. They wanted to make sure you were well aware that is not a woman, which is why the Adam's apple is prominently shown.
Yeah,
they could have easily taken a shot of her smiling without showing a giant Adam's apple.
Wearing
Why didn't you just pan up and show us her cock and balls while we're at it? Right.
I'm surprised she's not in
For
front.
this
I called her
International
she.
Women's
Look at me.
Day.
Look at me, so woke.
What'd you
I
say?
called her she. I'm so woke.
Oh, you actually said she.
Yeah, I did. And that's fine. You want to? Yeah, okay, but yeah, he's so brave.
So
Well, mostly you're taking, like Mike said, you're taking a woman. It's a woman's
Exactly.
day. Well, but she
Right.
is a woman. Like trans
and you
women
know
are
what?
women.
There's a lot
Aren't
of there's a lot of women who are very offended by a lot of these things.
Let's hope.
There are.
Start fucking
And
talking.
So for us, it's kind of silly and funny in a lot of ways. You know, I'm not here to tell anybody what their truth is, their reality is. I have a strong suspicion, and I could be 100% wrong because I
See the woman changing how we
I love the woke bae and I love Marina, but I wouldn't be shocked if Marina was just a gay guy, you know? Now, if that's, Marina would know more than I would, and it wouldn't bother me either way. But, you know, there's too many stories about people that have gotten a little older and have changed. Now, Marina transitioned or is transitioning later in life. So she can do what she wants, and if she wants to be called her and she, I have no problem doing that. I don't need to be disrespectful or rude to Marina.
Right.
I don't believe a lot of these things. I root for the underdog. We talk about it a lot here. You know, whether it's a child with Down syndrome that we were talking
What are
about
you
the other
looking at
day.
me? Pointing at me.
No, I'm not pointing at you.
You kind of went like,
No. I'm expressing myself with my hands.
I
to
felt like
you.
that gesture was.
Not at all.
No, we root for you too. Obviously, we root for the underdogs.
Yeah, we brought you in here, E. You know, I honestly believe that. I know we make fun of a lot of things. I think my problem, because I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, like, you know, about the trans thing, it seems more like strictly the virtue signal at the expense of people that could be troubled on whatever level. I think it speaks volumes when you have detransitioners like Chloe Cole, who's 19, 20 years old now. Beautiful girl, beautiful. Thought she was a boy, cut her tits off, looked like they were going to be pretty nice, I'll be honest with you, and regrets the fuck out of it.
I don't understand why. I mean, why can't trans be a thing? Why is that so offensive? I mean, in all honesty, like
what, detransitioners?
No. Just like trans, like as a male, a female, a trans, or whatever.
Yeah.
Of course, they have to be real women, whatever.
Right.
But,
yeah. You're not a real.
But
woman.
why? I mean, if like that, you should almost be proud of that. You know, I just there shouldn't be a stigma attached to it, and we shouldn't have to act like it's not a thing. Like,
but
okay.
if you believe,
So why can't they have they them bars? My point.
Well, because for the exact reason that you pointed out that you're aware of. Now, if you...
Oh, yeah. Isn't it Bitch Month?
Yeah, it's
Isn't that
International
what it is?
Bitch Month.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call them bitches. They're not dogs. It's International Broad Month.
Right after Black Month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. We finally got through Black Month. And
It's
now
only
we're
the
into
first
Broad Month.
2 of the first 3 months of the year. After that, we're
When's
clean and
Men's
safe,
Month?
right?
When do we get Men's Month?
The other 10. Actually, no, I don't think any of them. I think they're all designated as something other than Dudes Month.
Yeah, exactly. I would have a lot more sympathy for these people. First off, this dude, why wouldn't you want to be part of a national campaign? Get paid by Hershey, be on TV. You're getting a lot of praise and a lot of money probably from being a part of a TV commercial and campaign. So
Fucking face is on the candy bar, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
But
an ego stroke.
I have a problem. It's Detransition Awareness Day, okay, is coming up. And I'll give you it's Friday, March 10th. So I'll be unfortunately having surgery that day. So I will not be able to make it.
What
to the
surgery are you
show's
having,
event.
Mike?
I'm getting my Adam's apple shaved down.
Smart.
Yeah, you're really buying into that day, huh?
Yeah, hell yeah.
All in.
But these, Chloe Cole is 18-year-old. She medically transitioned as a minor. I believe she was 13 to 16 when they cut her tits off. And she's a beautiful girl, but she's now become kind of the face of the detransition movement. Now, these are people with the best of intentions who tried to join that team, right? I am a trans person. This girl went as far as cutting her tits off, okay? Before realizing, holy shit, they altered my voice forever. They put me on hormonal drugs that'll change my body forever. I'll never have children. And they cut my tits off between the ages of 13 and 16. Adults and medical professionals meant to look out for the well-being of this child ruined this child.
And as a girl dad, those are some fucked up years, yo.
Yeah.
Those are some fucked up years. My kids are absolutely nothing now like they were in the. I mean, honestly,
Troy, they're nothing like they were at 21,
right?
Like they are now,
right? Yeah.
I've seen massive change in your oldest daughter from 21 to 24. Massive change,
Absolutely.
right? Not even close to the same person.
Nope.
As that 21-year-old.
Yeah.
I know everything moron.
And more than anything, was absolutely impressionable. And I mean, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was all about acceptance. It was all about like, being liked by the cool kid. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that was their singular focus on every level.
Yeah.
So if that becomes what makes them popular, or you know what I mean? Like for them, it was clothes at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like what clothes you were wearing and shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But it just evolves. And now it's what gender are you?
Yeah.
So now they look back and go, I was fucking so stupid. None of that shit matters.
Of course,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
all do.
Right.
And that's one thing as part of growing up is every single one of us goes, oh my God, thank God I'm not held to my beliefs of when I was 16 or 21 or 25 for that matter.
Right.
Thank God I'm not held to any of those beliefs that I would have had. Radically different people. And that goes for every human being. So my problem with this is the detransitioners. These are people that went all in. They put all their chips in and trusted medical professionals, adults in their lives, family members, and went down this road before realizing, holy shit, I've made a horrible, irreversible mistake. And now I see where the problems were as I went through these years, and I saw how easily they went, yep, that's what you are. Let's get you on hormones next week or today. Like with no help, no fucking, months and months and months of research. No, it was like 2 visits for an hour total to a doctor. And now I'm on, not producing estrogen anymore. And I'm taking testosterone, and it's, we're discussing surgery options. So when these people figure out, like, holy shit, I need to make people aware that this is a possible problem. So it is not. So this is Miss Cole again, Chloe Cole, who is now back to being a woman. She's very cute, and she's very brave, in my opinion. But she went all in. You cannot say that this girl did not go hard in the paint for that movement. Mm-hmm. She lopped her own fucking tits off, for fuck's sakes, right? That's how dedicated she was before realizing I made a horrific mistake, and these people did not look out for my best interests. This is not an anti-trans rally. It is a call for caution around medical transitioning to prevent vulnerable individuals from being met with the same regret.
Fair. Seems reasonable.
This story gets covered nowhere. Of course. You will not read about Detransition Day. This is not the first one. It gets bigger and bigger by the thousands every year.
Yep.
The stuff that's going on now, they have security especially for Chloe Cole herself. Again, who went all in on your team. All in.
But now you're a traitor.
So over our dead body are the things people are saying about having this event to warn people like, hey, like this is not an anti-trans rally. Fully believe it exists. But before all of you, 100% of you just are diagnosed and thrown into the machine, you might want to hear some other people's stories.
Yeah, you should
because
have
there's
all
a handful
of the
of
information available to make that most educated decision possible.
So people are posting to her stuff like an image of a skull biting a knife with the caption "Death before detransition." There were several mentions of fighting, including "Get into the fight. It's time to fight. We will go down fighting." Although, to be fair, it's unclear if those are just figurative expressions. Some people saying they need their teeth punched out. Hope you know how to properly wash pepper-sprayed eyes. Okay?
Those don't sound like expressions. Those sound like threats.
Yeah, but going down fighting.
That's fine. That's what we were talking about with the Twitter rules.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
It doesn't matter what they do to me as long as I'm alive. I'll be speaking out about this. I will always speak out on behalf of the others that don't have a voice. The kids, the families, the adults that have been affected by this will no longer suffer in silence. Cole recently announced she was suing the hospital. I believe I was the first one to announce the lawsuits were what's going to fucking really change the attitudes in the medical industry. I thought we were a few years away from them. No, she's the first one in America. There are multiple lawsuits in the UK.
They're so insulated. We'll see how these turn out.
Yeah, well.
But because it wasn't botched, and it was at the time
being asked for.
It was voluntary. It wasn't, you know what I mean? They didn't, it's going to be a very difficult
I don't think so with minors.
No.
Minors are going to be the key. Now, if you talk about an 18-year-old or a 20-year-old, Marina would have a very difficult time if Marina goes down that road, because I don't think Marina started to even think about transitioning until she was in her 20s, which, fine, she's an adult. She can do that.
Sure.
And by the way, I talked to the Woke Bay yesterday. They are, I don't know if I should announce it, but Marina is moving here. I know.
They're talking about awesome.
Bay, yeah,
fabulous.
They're having great success with selling her place.
They're what?
Huh?
They're what?
They're having great success.
Oh,
what'd you say?
Great sex.
Oh, great.
It sucks and sex.
That too.
Yeah, I bet.
But no, like the whole process of depending on where you are in the country, it can be a nightmare selling a property and moving. They're doing really well and couldn't be happier. And I couldn't be happier for them. So Cole announced.
That's like saying I have a black friend.
What is? I couldn't be happier for him. Honest to God, I
could not be happier for them.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I know.
Cole announced she's suing the hospital, an affiliated medical group that medically transitioned her as a minor, which included puberty-blocking drugs, irreversible. Okay, I don't care what they tell you. When you start fucking with nature like that, that becomes where your voice gets to be like this, just a lady, and that will never go back. Cross-sex hormones, double mastectomy surgery. Oh, she will never breastfeed a child. She will probably never. It's just, between the ages of 13 and 16. Oh. So they now they're gaining about 1,000 members a month. Now nearly 45,000 members in a forum created on Reddit dedicated to detransitioners and stuff.
Well, when it finally gets large enough, which is a tragedy in and of itself,
Right.
That it will become, unsilenceable.
Yeah.
They'll have to listen.
It's crazy. It's just crazy, and people should be sickened. And I'm glad. I think more people need to speak out like Marina did on this very show about this stuff.
Yeah.
Because even she recognizes this is bullshit. What's going on around the country? With a
Have
lot of these
open,
stories.
honest conversations, and that's not what's happening right now.
Yeah.
That's being silenced, and the other's being promoted, and anytime that's the situation, you have to question why.
Right.
If it's true and it's real and it's healthy and it's fine, then you should be open to all, as long as it's real and it's honest, which it's somebody that's transitioned and detransitioned. It doesn't get more real and honest than that.
No, exactly. That's the sad part.
Exactly.
And God forbid, how simple-minded do you have to be, or what a lack of sight further down the road, bigger picture, if you will. Do you think it's impossible that at some point you transitioned person that is throwing fire and wants to fucking burn these people at the stake for daring to go against your narrative, or speaking up for people that have been horrifically scarred and injured for life because of choices they made as a 13-year-old? Horrible stories. Horrible. Do you think it's possible on the slightest level that you throwing all that hate and vitriol towards the detransition community, that it would be completely impossible for you to not fucking slowly, perhaps, over the next 5 years, realize maybe you made a mistake too? Now, all those
as you
people that have
start
praised
living
you,
this life into your 40s and
50s and 60s,
Yeah.
and you find yourself fucking, trying to keep open a wound that wants to heal for life. I've talked about it forever. The 90-year-old fucking former male that cut his dick off and bore a hole to make a vagine, that is an open wound. That needs to be fucking dealt with for life, which means the biggest, blackest, veiniest dildo you can get needs to be exercised in there. I want to know who's churning butter on these women at 90 in the fucking old folks home. That's like, it's one thing when you're 18. It's one thing when you're 25. Trust me. When you hit about 40, shit starts to really suck in life. And it's going to be made that much more difficult if that's part of your regimen going forward.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's another thing on Twitter. Some chick came out, was blasting J.K. Rowling's, right? Because Rowling, sorry. That she had all these, like, Harry Potter themed tattoos.
Rowling.
Like, whatever. Give a fuck. All over her arms and, like, sleeves and, like, tons of things,
Real tattoos?
Real tattoos, yeah. Like, she was a huge fan, of the series. She's younger or whatever, but she's grown now.
Yeah.
And, like, this post was like, oh, my God, I'm so embarrassed, ashamed of all these tattoos that I from someone that is a transphobe and da-da-da-da. And somebody else went on there and there was like, so you regret something that you did to permanently alter your thing, the decision you made as when you were younger, and regretted it or whatever. And it was just like the ultimate mic drop.
yeah.
It was like, oh, so you actually regret something you did when you were younger that permanently changed your thing?
I believe Alanis Morissette wrote a song about that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Hey, emails are brought to you by The Party Pub.
Yeah.
If you want to impress everyone at your grad party, wedding reception, poker night, MMA viewing party, or for any other reason, you need to contact The Party Pub. It's a massive inflatable pub that can be set up wherever you choose. They also have all the best party games, beanbag toss, badminton, giant inflatable screens, axe throwing, and more. Call Jeff at 586-524-6701 or visit thepartypubrentals.com and take your event to the next level.
All right. Okay. Well,
let's just get into it.
Held it for a few. Look, I don't like to fucking kick the teeth in of anyone. I don't take any pleasure in anything like that.
Of course not.
All right, this is for subject is Biggie.
Been gone for like 3 weeks. I don't know, whatever. But
Would like to start on a positive note by saying I've been listening since episode 1 in the summer of 2013, almost 10 years. Holy shit. And I love that you give your honest and genuine take on everything.
But,
I miss Big E. Every day when I turn on the show, I am disappointed when I don't hear E's stupid squawking laugh in the background.
wow, what a turn of events.
The show is good without E, but I think it's great with E. Without E, the show is just two guys, one talented and one regular guy.
Yeah.
At least he says talented and regular. I don't know which one's which. I guess that I'm regular because I know how talented you are, T.
Talented son of a bitch.
Talking about current events, I feel the original edge of honest, unfiltered context has lost weight now that there are 7 billion podcasts doing the same thing. I agree. That's my whole argument. When you add Eric to the mix, I feel it adds a truly unique element that takes the show to another level.
Wow.
I love the original dynamic of Jay and Eric somehow ending up in the same room on the same team, working towards a common goal. I feel like that dynamic works just as well with T-Roy, who would have never ended up in the same room as E if not for TDC.
That's fair.
I don't need to continue on about the elements E adds, as you are well aware of what they are.
No, I think I would be okay with you
Shut
continuing on.
Jesus. These are just my personal feelings, so take them for what they're worth. I miss E on the show, and I hope to hear him back soon. Side note, I know I could listen to E on his show, but I just don't think E is meant to carry a show.
How dare
God,
you.
yeah, now he's taking now the
How
shot.
dare you.
Now the knives are coming out.
Right.
backhanded.
You know what? I don't forget all that other shit.
What E brings is best showcased as a part of a greater show that is not centered around him. I think he does a phenomenal job in his role on TDC. Signed, Mrs. Fady.
Right. Jesus Christ.
No, that's from Brett. Don't you have a friend named Brett? Is this your boy Brett?
Was this a plant?
I don't have a friend. I mean, not a personal friend
All right.
named Brett.
Look,
Okay.
I read that last sentence not to shit on you, but because I read all that ass-kissy shit about you
I get
before
you,
that.
I get you.
I could have buried this,
Well, to be
but I don't.
To be fair, the podcast with Amy just was because if I was going to drive around the country, how could I not do something? I wasn't just going to not talk about it. So that was just because of
Dude,
that. mostly.
you have a tremendous ability to ramble incoherently and never shut the fuck up.
I know.
And so that is the curse that is Big E. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have.
Right,
Attaboy.
the facts
The
of
facts
life.
of life, right? That's the reality of Easus. So unless you have someone trying their best to control the movement of the ball around the room, you get an unfiltered, rambly mess that is Big E.
I know.
But when you rein him in, there are absolute brilliant moments that I'm so proud of on this show that could not be done without the talents of a Big E. Of
course.
So I totally understand where Brett is coming from.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I am just going to do as you know, one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, lean it back.
and
Take
say
it
we-
all in, E.
I say we end it right there.
I say don't even come back again. That was good enough.
All that means is he's got to pee really
That's
bad.
my art.
no. I'm not even doing my dance today.
I'll do one more. I don't want
All
to go
right.
out just
Well, it was going on such a high note, right?
Why?
I'll read a couple. Why not? Because I give a bunch of email. We haven't
we'll
gotten
catch
through.
No, I
any
just
yet.
wanted to hear that. That was enough for me.
It was good, right? Hi, guys. I just want to thank Mike for that honest dialogue in the beginning of the episode the other day. Just know you're not alone, and I almost feel like you were reading my mind. I think it's inevitable when you get around our age and you feel your life hasn't turned out right to have those racing thoughts, sleepless nights. Life has a way of working itself out. Hang in there. Your honesty is appreciated. Also, I agree with the listeners. A meetup would be great. I don't care how many people. Thanks again, guys. Your podcast has become my fave. Good luck with your surgery. Thank you. Thank you, Angie.
Just real quick, not to be weird. Could you very quickly summarize what were you?
You'd have to listen.
Oh, okay.
I went on a 15.
Oh, really? Okay.
Diatribe where yeah.
Was it just like a?
It
what
was
is the
just
point of life
honest.
thing?
It was honest and sad and fucking whatever.
Gotcha.
but it
Okay.
was-
What day was this? Do you know?
No, you have to listen to them all to find out.
Yeah, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
One of those.
Or
two.
Wednesday or last Friday.
Fine.
Or the week before that or the week before
Is
that.
it right at the beginning?
It is.
Okay.
Or it's like 20 minutes in
Jesus Christ.
Or 30 minutes in.
somewhere. Or, did we do that at the end?
We
Never
might
mind.
have. It might have been after email.
You'll find it.
Okay.
You'll
It's
find
in the members area.
Oh, really? Well,
No, it's
Okay, okay.
it's sort of out the gate.
I'm
And
interested.
I want to say it was Tuesday, but it might have been
that
Monday.
teased me. I'm interested.
Corporal punishment. Morning, gents. You guys and Dave, were talking about parental ass whoopings. I'm assuming this was when Landau was in.
I would assume.
Were we talking about parental ass whoopings with Landau?
That sounds like it could have came up. I feel
for
like.
sure.
Yeah,
for
sure.
sure it could have. But And this email is from a while ago. So, yeah, it probably was. Like I said, these have been piling up. It reminded me of a story I heard about my dad way back when the drinking age was 18. He went to a party and brought home some orange juice and vodka mix. My aunt, who was in middle school at the time, had herself some orange juice with breakfast the next morning and went to school drunk as shit. When my grandma found out, she broke a broom handle over my dad's head and then made him buy her a new broom.
That's fair.
Keep up the great work as always, Alex.
I always wonder, like, in that
hilarious.
setting.
My dad dragged me up the stairs by my hair once. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
I remember
remember
you
it.
telling me that story. Yeah.
Yep.
I know. I just wonder, like, because it's so weird. We've all been drinking at this point for a long time. But, like, as a 12, like, what that would have been like, what her first feeling have been like, because she didn't even know she was drinking.
Yeah, right.
Just
Yeah.
drink some orange juice, and all of a sudden you're kind of like,
A little
You would
sloppy.
know.
Oh.
Well,
Well,
orange
yeah.
juice and vodka, is that a traditional mimosa?
That's a screwdriver.
Screwdriver. Thank you. Jesus Christ.
Screwdriver.
Screwdriver.
Champagne
And those,
is
there you go. Those are tasty, but I would think to a kid's palate, you would be like, ugh, something's wrong with my orange juice today, wouldn't you?
Generally, yeah.
Yeah, I would think they
If it's
would.
Enough,
made
enough to
right.
get you hammered.
Huh?
Enough to get her hammered, you would think. Yeah, you're going to taste it.
Yeah, although it wouldn't take much to get a middle school girl hammered.
I would just love to know, like, because that first, that first, like, she didn't even plan on doing it, man.
Maybe
She
it was-
drink some orange juice, and all of a sudden she's like, whoa, hell
It
yeah.
could be that she drank the orange juice right after she brushed her teeth.
Oh, well, who would do that? That's the worst taste in the world.
Exactly. So it would mask it, and you wouldn't know. You would be like, "This tastes like shit," but I just brushed my teeth, so I wouldn't think anything
And
weird
you
about
could,
it.
You could get a good, healthy fucking cup down
Yep.
of
Like
that
drink it and
shit.
be like, "Oh fuck, I got to drink my orange juice. I need my vitamin C."
Yeah.
Sugar water, by the way.
All right, one last one, and then we'll go. And the only reason I'm doing this one is because it relates to something we were talking about yesterday. Standard anarchist shit. Mike, while listening to poem 1705, imagine my surprise to hear you call squatters squatting standard anarchist shit, or maybe stuff. Not 100% sure. I was trying to work at the same time. It was while you were talking about the J.K. Rowling show. You should know that we anarchists believe in private property as much as we believe in paying for our whipped creams and strawberries. We just don't think anyone should be telling us to. No, I don't. If I said that, I misspoke.
But that was like an anarchist group that was doing it.
Yes,
right? That
exactly.
We didn't call them anarchists for doing it.
They were an anarchist group.
Yes, that were squat.
That's what they called themselves, and they were squatting, and
Right.
they had a game plan for when they were called out for it.
Yeah.
So I don't
And I think
remember
it was-
exactly how I worded that.
It was like that they had to. Yeah, whatever. I don't
Yeah.
think that was the point of it, but
No, but it was a big part of the storyline for this. It's what did I call? What did I say the show was called? DB Strike.
oh right,
DB Strike.
Yep.
Which you can watch on HBO Max, but it's based on J.K. Rowling, her books. And they're pretty good. But yeah, that was a storyline. Was these anarchists were blah blah blah. So I don't know if I said it that way. I didn't mean it that way. Like all anarchists don't believe
Yeah.
in. But anarchists, I don't think like following rules of society. So I wouldn't put it past them
Yeah.
to.
They got a
"Fuck
good
you, I'm
cookbook.
squatting here. I've heard. I've heard.
it's a good read.
All right, let's call it there. Let's call it a week. We'll do some members content and whatnot. Maybe we'll do a show tomorrow. Maybe not. I haven't talked to anybody yet, so I can't say for sure. But thank you, everybody. Isis, it's great seeing you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed your email
I did.
from your mom.
You want to
I'm-
take it with you, friend?
Yeah, I'm going to put that.
You want that one?
For sure. Let's put that up at the manor, man.
I'll let you take this, and you can.
Proof that at some point, at some time, someone missed me.
Well, I leaned over to see if I could see the headshot on it, and then I was like, "Oh, this might not
I
be.
was
This might not be
blown
a bash.
away
What?
that it was long.
That it wasn't-
I mean,
that it
I
wasn't
assumed
Connor.
this was something just
Bone
like
job.
Yeah, for sure.
That's when you started reading it. I was like, "Oh, there's no headshot on the bottom of that." Like,
Yeah.
Oh, let's see where this goes.
Yeah. Well, usually I love doing
Yes.
that. Where it looks like you're just going to kick his teeth in, and then
That is a rare.
every once in a while I'll give you a
rare-
gift. Isis.
yeah.
Take the dub, buddy.
The
Take
guy
the
doesn't
dub.
even like the show with just me and T.
Yeah,
That's basically
sounds
what he
like it.
said. Is
Yeah.
it's an unlistenable show,
Right.
Without Isis,
Right.
So, take it for what it's worth. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. We will see you next week for sure. Members, look forward to us this weekend.